Marvel. Game Maker System by NunuXD Chapter 26-50. Ned was addicted to playing Skyblock. Initially he thought it would just be a fun little mini-game, like Hunger Games or Build Battle, but he was very wrong about that. The grinding and farm system in Skyblock was addictive. The more you played, the more you evolved and the more things you could do in the game. If before he thought Minecraft Vanilla had no limits, he had to admit that Skyblock further broke limits he hadn't even realized existed. It had been a week since he killed Ender Dragon, and after that several other people also killed the dragon and were able to start playing Skyblock. It made this game mode kind of a VIP feel, as if because only people who killed Ender Dragon can play, it has become a mini-game that only elites meet. Ned's livestream was still known as the largest Minecraft livestream in the world. Even though other streamers emerged, Ned was the only one who kept an average of over 10,000 watching, and during peak hours that number even tripled. So even though the vast majority of players couldn't play Skyblock, they could still watch Ned play and see what it's like. Maybe I should do a potato farm. I think this could make me a lot of money. Ned told the chat. That. Closing square bracket. Potatoes for victory. Closing square bracket. Make the kingdom of potatoes. Closing square bracket. Death to pigs. Closing square bracket. But suddenly, a window appeared floating in front of Ned. A big new update has arrived in Minecraft. Visit the game's official page, or launcher for more details. Closing square bracket. Ned was surprised. This was the first time a message like this came up. Before it just said it had an update and players had to restart the game, but this time it seems like it had more explanation. Guys, I'm going to disconnect from the game and share my computer screen so you can see this news with me. Ned said as he disconnected from Minecraft. Within seconds his awareness returned to his own body and he focused his vision on the computer monitor. 2 new DLCs have arrived in the world of Minecraft. Closing square bracket. For players in love with magic, the DLC Thaumaturgy is for you. Thaumaturgy is the capability of a magician to work miracles. The practitioner of thaumaturgy is a thaumaturge, taumaturgist or miracle worker. This is what this mod is all about, drawing magic from physical objects in the form of essentia and reshaping it to perform miracles. Closing square bracket. Ned was surprised by this first DLC. He didn't think it was possible to do magic in Minecraft. Initially Ned thought there might be magic classes in Minecraft, as players could use swords, shields, axes and bows. The only thing missing was magic to make a perfect RPG, but unfortunately he never discovered anything related to magic other than potions. But now it was available. That was amazing. Ned was really looking forward to buying this DLC right now to start playing it and experimenting with making magic with your own hands. Playing a game with magic was fun, but playing Minecraft with magic will be a unique experience for each player, as unlike other games, players feel that they are really in another world with another body, meaning magic will also feel extremely real. But as excited as Ned was, he started reading the other DLC. Shuri was a little bored. Initially she had a lot of fun playing Minecraft, especially as she tried to invent machines with redstone, but as the days went by, because of the simplicity of this, Shuri ended up feeling that the game was becoming a bit boring for her. That was the problem with geniuses. Whereas normal people would take months to learn how to craft an automatic farm, for Shuri, who was smart enough to make the Black Panther suit, thinking about making automatic farms, or big redstone circuits was very simple, for her. When she was getting ready to log out of the game, she saw the notification that there was a new DLC and decided to check it out. After all, different things could come. Seeing Thaumcraft's description, Shuri felt that it was quite boring and not that interesting to her. Despite having a lot of new things, apparently they weren't complicated things. Just basic things that any common person would be able to do if they had the time available. But when she saw the description of the second DLC, Shuri's heart sped up as her eyes sparkled. If you feel that Thaumcraft is not your cup of tea, you might be interested in Industrial Craft. Industrial Craft introduces numerous features across a variety of areas in Minecraft, including resource processing, mining, agriculture and the player's armory itself. It accomplishes this through the use of a proprietary energy system of energy units, or EU, and includes an array of generators and blocks to provide and store this energy and a much larger stable of machinery and tools to use this energy in their own ways. Closing square bracket. Shuri was shocked. Curious, she started seeing promotional images of this mod pack and was even more excited to play. From the promotional images she could see that there were different types of machines. She would have to design the best place to build her factory, the best layout to build it, get the resources, use machines to process the resources and use that to do other things. There was so much she would have to do that Shuri's smile kept growing. Without thinking twice, Shuri bought the $10 DLC and after a few seconds of installation she went into Minecraft to build an amazing factory. Not only Shuri, tens of thousands of players around the world were amazed by these Minecraft DLCs and almost everyone bought at least one of the DLCs to try out. This included the bigwigs from the world of Marvel as well. Unlike players who were surprised by these DLCs, Alex had different feelings. As he had already discovered that he was in the Marvel universe, these DLCs were specially selected to attract the greatest amount of audience to Minecraft, so that he could focus on the next game he wanted to develop. He knew that in this world there were many geniuses with such a high level of intellect that the geniuses of his old world couldn't even compare. And worst of all, in this world there was practically a genius for everything, be it a genius in robotics, genetics, shooting, construction, space, things that Alex couldn't even imagine much. He knew there were people with almost infinite knowledge about that. So, after thinking about what mods he could add, Alex found that Thaumcraft and Industrial Craft would be the mods that would make players spend more time in the game, and that would cover the greatest amount of players. After all, those who weren't interested in exacts could playing the Magic DLC, those who preferred exact calculations could play Industrial Craft, which was focused on machines and resource usage, while those who didn't have a clear preference could play both mods. But with that, Alex was already feeling that Minecraft was reaching a bottleneck. Not a public bottleneck that could play the game, but a development bottleneck. The game was practically complete, and after a few weeks Alex even intended to sell a platform for players to make mods, where they could sell their own mods, or make it available for free. At this point Alex didn't have much to do with Minecraft, so he thought it would be a good time to develop another game. Master, where are we going? Wong asked, confused as he looked around. Even as a monk, Wong was well versed in the culture of normal people, so seeing the world with cars, cell phones and computers was no problem for him. Don't worry, this time I will show you a truly unforgettable experience, the old woman said with a confident smile as she looked at Wong and her other disciples. Today she was wearing a different outfit than the disciples were used to. Usually they just saw her wearing a green and yellow outfit, or even a white outfit, but unlike normal, today she was wearing a long black and purple cape with a dragon face on the back, and to match she wore the other pieces of black clothes with purple. As much as this outfit was very different from normal, the disciples had to admit that the crone was even more beautiful in this outfit, despite being bald. The last time this such unforgettable experience caused me to go bald for 3 months, Wong grumbled in a low voice so the elder couldn't hear, but by the smile she was giving him, he knew she had heard. I'll forgive your language today, mainly because I know it's going to be difficult to maintain self-control with what I'm going to show you. Please follow me into this store, the old woman said as she entered a dark shop. Curious, Wong looked at the store's nameplate and found it was a cyber cafe. Initially he was curious about what the crone wanted to show them, but now that they came to a cyber cafe he felt less interested. When he was still an ordinary young boy he came to this kind of place all the time. Master, I know this is a cool place, but I can't understand what you mean by unforgettable experience, Wong said, receiving nods from the other disciples. Hearing this, the elder smiled and replied, Tell me Wong, what are these people doing on computers? Wong was confused by this question, but he looked around and saw that a man was sleeping in front of his computer while a color film played on the screen. Looking at a woman nearby he saw that she too was sleeping as a square movie played on the screen. This surprised Wong and the other disciples, as they didn't realize everyone would be paying to sleep here, until a wild idea came to Wang's mind. Master, is there a demon hypnotizing these people? Wang yelled, alarming the other disciples, who immediately went into battle stance to fight the demon that could appear at any moment. No need to worry, there are no demons here, this is actually a game everyone is playing with their own consciences. And that's what I brought you to try. In this game there is a different style of magic, and I want it to you guys study this magic and tell me the difference between the magic of this game, our magic, and whether this game's magic can somehow be used in real life. The elder explained. Hearing what she said, the disciples finally understood what they should do. Some were excited that they could play, others were relaxed that there were no demons. Only Wang was 100% serious as he thought about the crone's task for him and the other disciples. Unlike other disciples, Wang was always educated in martial arts, rather than mystic arts. Of course, he knows mystic arts, but he doesn't practice it, mainly because of his lack of talent for the magical part of the world, forced to focus only on martial arts. But from what he's heard from the crone, apparently there's more to this spell in this game, and if he's among the research team for this spell, maybe it has something to do with him. Wang got excited and quickly paid him so the other monks could use the free computers, and soon they slept in front of the screens just like the other customers. Wang, I think we should sleep. A man in monk's clothes and a bald head said with a tired expression to Wang. Wang was confused. After looking at the sky he replied, "Why? It's still daylight, monsters aren't even showing." Hearing this, the monk was shocked and responded, "I'm not talking about the game, but about ourselves. I think it's been 50 hours since we've been playing non-stop. As much as our bodies are better than average humans, many brothers have already passed out from sleep." The monk said as he pointed to the bodies of players lying on the ground. Luckily for these players, as their bodies were square, they were in no danger of falling to their side while sleeping. Wang saw that the other monks were very tired and decided to disconnect from Minecraft with them and return to Kamar Taj. The more tired monks were carried by the less tired monks, and within a short time they arrived. Unlike the other monks, Wang was perfectly fine. Sure, his reasoning was a little reading for having gone so long without sleep, but he had studied magic in such a fun and innovative way in that game that he didn't even feel the time pass. After accompanying the disciples to their dorm, Wang went to his room and decided to write down everything he learned in the game so he wouldn't forget. As he sat at his desk, Wang felt a strange sense of familiarity. As he had spent so many hours in Minecraft sitting in his desk trying to come up with theories for DLC Thaumcraft, when Wang sat at his own desk at home he felt like he was just doing something like he did in the game. The problem is that this gave Wang a wild idea. He remembered making a thonometer, an item made with gold borders and some crystals with elemental properties, which allowed him to see the elements of objects in the game and get inspiration from it, to develop your own spells. But as he had just done it within the game, Wang felt it was a silly idea. Thinking to rest his head for a bit, Wang turned on the television to watch the news around the world. But what he didn't expect is for the news to talk about Minecraft. "So what are the results, doctor?" a reporter asked a smiling old man in a white coat. "This is a miracle. Besides, there are no side effects, even old people like me can drink without worrying," the old man said excitedly as he took the microphone from the reporter's hand and started talking to the camera. "I'm Dr. Heinstein, I teach at Yale University. If you have potions like this, I'll buy each one for $500, no, $1,000. If you're one of the 20 players who got a Minecraft potion this week, I'll buy this potion for $1,000. Even if it's a lucky potion." The doctor was making an announcement before being interrupted by the program staff. But that was enough to shock Wang. Not because there was an old man publicizing himself on television, as he was surprisingly used to seeing this kind of person without shame in it, but what surprised him was that while the old man was publicizing, there was a message on the screen that shocked Wang. University doctors around the world are surprised by the potions brought from Minecraft. This is a medical revolution, they say. Closing square bracket. And if what that old man said was true, it means that even people at Yale, one of the most renowned universities in the world, were proving that Minecraft things worked in real life. But if what they were saying was true, didn't that mean that even the Minecraft Magic DLC stuff would also work in the real world? Wong was shocked. Every hair on his body stood up and he quickly got up from his chair and went to a chest near his bed to get some items. Wong has had a lot of bad luck since he was born. His father was a very powerful sorcerer who worked for the Crone, but unfortunately Wong was born with a very weak talent for magic, something that made him practically forced to give it up and focus on martial arts. But who knew that a chance to use magic would actually come his way? At this point Wong even remembered the smile the Crone gave him while they were at the cyber cafe, which made Wong feel even more excited, as he knew the Crone knew something they were still discovering. Maybe that's it. My chance to practice magic. Wong said excitedly as he focused on developing a thonometer. While Wong was marveling at Thaumcraft's magic, there was another person shocked by a Minecraft DLC as well. Shuri, who had started playing Industrial Craft just for fun, was now completely focused on a large pile of books in front of her as she wrote non-stop on a blank sheet. Shuri had thought Minecraft was just a very creative game, but the more she played this game, the more Shuri was shocked, even more when she disconnected from the game and noticed there was a black cape on her lap. But if anyone was even more shocked, it was the Dora Milaje, who also had their cloaks in their hands when they left the game, which made the entire palace go on high alert while people thought there was an intruder among them. But when they found nothing, the only explanation for it was magic. Shuri thought Minecraft magic was something that could be very fascinating to study, but she didn't think the technology in this game was also so powerful. Initially, while she only saw it as a game DLC, Shuri found it a lot of fun. But when she found herself thinking about the feasibility of using many of these technologies in real life, Shuri was surprised at how high the probability of success for this was. Maybe I should try this out. She asked herself, shocked as she stared at the paper in front of her. A few weeks passed in the blink of an eye. Meanwhile, the Minecraft audience has become increasingly large, not just people wanting to play and killing monsters, but also people playing Minecraft for other purposes. Are you sure about this? I might as well video call him. An old lady said a little worriedly as she sat down in front of an old laptop. Don't worry, Grandma, I've been wearing this for a long time. You know Uncle John who sells cookies near the church? He's also been wearing this for a few days. If you want, you can even ask him. A 12-year-old girl explained to her grandmother patiently with a smile on her face. The old woman was a little scared, but upon learning that old John was also wearing it, she was a little less worried and decided to try it on her own, as if it really worked like her granddaughter had said it would be too good for her. Okay, what do I do? The woman asked determinedly. Just use your mouse and click play. The young girl pointed to the screen. Slower than a normal person, the old woman clicked the play button and felt that everything around her was turning black. Even though her granddaughter had previously said that this would happen, the woman was still very scared about it. But in a few seconds her vision changed to a beautiful world, with bright greens and a blue sky that she couldn't see for a long time. Because of this woman's old age, her eyesight had deteriorated a lot, but in this world she could see clearly, as if she were still very young. What had she really told me to do? The old lady remembered after observing the surroundings for some myths. After a bit of doubt, she clicked on multiplayer and chose Hypixel. The vision around her changed again, but this time only the world around her was different, quickly turning the blocks of grass and wood into blocks of something like stone and concrete, forming a beautiful medieval city. This is magic, she said with an astonished expression as she looked around. The city of Hypixel had gotten a lot bigger than it was originally. There were now many squares and several villagers selling food and drinks to players in exchange for emeralds that players brought back from single-player mode. Even though in Hypixel players didn't feel hungry, it was still comfortable to sit with friends in a store in town and eat something while chatting. I know, right? A voice came from the old lady's side. Curious, she turned and saw a player with long black hair and a simple brown outfit standing next to her, wearing a very pretty cape. Yes, my granddaughter convinced me to come here, but I didn't know it was such a wonderful place. I can walk normally without any bones hurting, I can see perfectly without even wearing glasses, everything is so magical. The woman said, satisfied. By the calm way of speaking of this woman, and by the fact that she said about her granddaughter, the player understood that she must be an elderly person and became more respectful towards her. Are you by any chance looking for someone? Or maybe looking for something to do? There are some fun games around here. The woman was enjoying the scenery while talking to the player, until she heard him ask her what her objective was here and she got scared. I forgot my appointment. My friends said they wanted to have tea here today, I think I'm late. How am I supposed to find them? The player heard this and opened a smile on his face. Scenes like this were happening all the time, especially this week when Minecraft finally burst the bubble of being just a game for young people. Older people started playing and they were also amazed by this world, maybe even more amazed than young people that they could feel things they haven't felt in a long time. Well, there is a tea house in a neighborhood nearby, if you want I can take you there. The player said with a smile. The woman was surprised by this, but the happiness was very good, even if it wasn't the right place, she could just blame her friends for not explaining well how to find them. That would be a great help, thank you so much. The woman said with a smile. The player accompanied the woman to the most famous tea house in Hypixel and noticed that several groups of women were gathered there drinking tea and talking as if they were noblewomen from a distant past. But as weird as this might be in the real world, on Hypixel it wasn't surprising. The woman was very happy to be able to meet her friends and turned to thank the player who helped her come here, but when she turned back there was no one else. Hey, where did he go? She asked herself confused. Luckily she had seen his name above his head as they were on their way here. Thanks for that Notch, maybe we'll meet one day. The woman said with a smile as she turned and went to her friend's table. This woman may be just an ordinary old woman in Minecraft, but in real life she is extremely powerful. But the player she thought was just an ordinary young man was also someone with a special identity, but neither of them knew that. The woman only knew that the young man's name was Notch, and Notch just thought that this lady was an ordinary old woman and didn't even bother to memorize the woman's name. Natasha was now in the elevator at SHIELD headquarters on her way to meet Director Fury. While some agents got in and out of the elevator, she just remained thoughtful looking at an empty spot. The agents only watched her momentarily before getting back to what they were doing, not wanting to upset this woman, who they knew held one of the highest positions at SHIELD. Natasha didn't even pay attention to the eyes of these people, as she was already used to this kind of thing, and mainly because she had a lot to think about. The mission she was currently in charge of was much more complicated than she had imagined, mainly because it was a completely unfamiliar environment, and of course, because her appearance didn't matter much in that environment, which was something that made previous missions much easier. But luckily she still had many ways to get what she wanted with the years of knowledge and training she received for this type of mission. After a few minutes the elevator was practically empty, if not for Coulson with her. Are you enjoying the game? Coulson asked, trying to start a conversation. Natasha felt that Coulson was a nice person and responded. I wouldn't say enjoying it, but I can see why this is as successful as it is. Yes, it has become a phenomenon. I heard that practically 90% of children in schools are playing nowadays, and even a small part of these children's parents decided to play too because of their children's insistence. Coulson said, yeah, probably if I were a normal person I could be going through that too. It's hard to see something like that and not be amazed if you've never come into contact with things like this before. Natasha commented. It is true. Coulson confirmed. But what about you? Did you like the game? Natasha asked, a little curious. Coulson was a little thoughtful before answering. I felt it was a little fun, especially the part of riding horses and riding around the world, betting horse racing or stuff like that, but it's still not my teaspoon. I prefer games that involve cars, racing and adrenaline. To fight monsters in a game is not something that surprises me so much because of my work. Natasha agreed with what Coulson said. While working at SHIELD, they've come into contact with many strange things that ordinary people thought only existed in science fiction movies. So fighting these monsters in the game wasn't very exciting, of course, besides the fact that the technology just blows them away. Coulson said goodbye to Natasha on one of the penultimate floors and let her go alone to Fury's office. After knocking on the door and receiving confirmation that she could enter, Natasha began to report. "Sir, this was a very complicated task, especially after so many people started playing Minecraft. The suspect was hardly found among so many people. He was invisible all the time and only appeared when he wanted it to happen. Of course, we didn't have hard evidence for this, but all investigations and witness comments confirmed that this hypothesis is very high," Natasha said. Fury sat thoughtfully in his chair as he thought about it all, until he asked, "And did you get in touch with the suspect?" "Yes. After acting like an experienced player and gaining access to Skyblock, I started interacting more with other players and, coincidentally, the suspect started appearing more to me and the players I met," Natasha replied. It really makes the suspicion about him increase even more. From what the agents have described, the Skyblock really is something of a place for the game's elite in terms of battle. Did you notice anything suspicious about these people? After all, to be there everyone had to kill the dragon, and as this game is in VR, the skill needed to do that is far superior to what ordinary people can do in such a short time," Fury asked. Natasha heard Fury's question and made a slightly angry expression. "Unfortunately, yes, I noticed that some people frequenting the Skyblock are actually probably soldiers or ex-soldiers who play Minecraft. Some are quiet people, others act just as idiots as the SHIELD employees after hours. I couldn't draw any conclusions from where they really are, but having managed to kill Ender Dragon in such a short time, I'm guessing they're not normal people," Natasha replied. "And that boy?" Nick asked. "Ned Leeds, student at Midtown High. No very flashy data about him, just an average student who apparently got very lucky to be the first Minecraft player. Being just a student, he has a lot of free time and plays for many hours of Minecraft day, probably even giving up studying school stuff to play. His monthly income has already reached 4 digits and is close to reaching 5 digits. In addition, he apparently already received 2 potions, managing to conquer top 20 in the Hunger Games for 2 weeks. His physique got stronger and his body fat was slightly reduced. Nothing remarkable to those close to him, but it still matches our data on these potions. I believe the investigation into him can be discontinued," Natasha finished reporting. "I agree with that. We can just watch from afar and watch his livestream every now and then for anything suspicious, but besides that we can stop the investigation of the poor boy," Fury replied indifferently. "But what about your assignment today?" Hearing that Natasha was proud and opened a smile. "Everything is ready, in a few hours I will meet him." "Very good, Agent, I'm confident you will succeed in this," Fury replied with an expression still indifferent. "Thank you, sir," Natasha replied before leaving. Today she would have an encounter with a Minecraft player, the SHIELD's prime suspect, Notch. But what they didn't know is that he had already discovered Natasha's identity and agreed to it out of curiosity. Welcome to Fanfic Audiobook, your go-to place for immersive audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Alex was developing the next game to release after Minecraft. Of course, he wasn't going to release the Minecraft game as high as it was. He intended to do other events in Minecraft before releasing the next game so that the next game wouldn't be something that rivaled Minecraft and made the Minecraft audience choose to quit to play. Alex's idea was to first let Minecraft reach a large player base, and after the public clamored for more games he would release. But that didn't stop him from developing the next game. The idea he had was something much bigger than Minecraft, mainly in terms of gaming points. A game with a story for the player to get involved and at the same time with a lot of freedom to play and have fun. But to develop this he would need a lot of time. As much as the system could use his memories to develop the games, Alex noted that some things from his previous world could be changed to make it more pleasing to players in that world. Just as he did with Minecraft to make it bigger with world events, rankings, awards and a virtual society, Alex also intended to do that with the next game. But that matter aside, Alex had a date today. Not as romantic as he didn't care about getting a girlfriend yet. After all, he didn't even know how he was going to get off this mountain, and he had a lot to occupy his mind. But the main reason is that the person he was going to meet was not someone he was romantically comfortable with. After all, the woman was known as Black Widow, and as the name suggests, the number of men who died from being in love with her it wasn't small. This time he would meet with her to see how the Shield was reacting to Minecraft and find out what their intentions were, of course, without them knowing that he already knew their identity. It's almost time, Alex told himself as he looked at his watch. Before long, he closed the game development program and joined Minecraft. Hypixel City was much busier than it used to be. Minecraft sales were already close to 200,000 units, so you'd expect at least 30,000 plus players to be in town at busy times. After all, it was the biggest server in the game. A few smaller servers started to pop up, and one that Alex had the most fun watching was a server called 22BT, which made him remember 2B2T from his previous world and think of the coincidence that players from that world also use a name so similar to the that he already knew. A server of anarchy that players could do whatever they wanted. Of course, as it was a VR game, nothing related to obscenities or anything too heavy against another player's wishes was allowed in Minecraft, so if anyone did that they would be banned from Minecraft immediately, being forced to buy another copy of the game, and this new account would be kept under observation by the system to prevent something like this from happening in the future. As the city was busy, Alex expanded this and added entertainment methods for players. Emeralds that were nearly useless in single-player mode had good monetary value in Hypixel, making many players actively seek this or while playing in order to play with some things in Hypixel with friends. Entering a cafe run by a villager with artificial intelligence, Alex saw that it was empty and sat down at a table overlooking the window, to continue watching the players outside. Seeing these people playing and having fun around town gave an idea of a world event for Alex to do. After all, it was fun causing chaos while everything was so happy. May I ask the reason for the smile? A female voice came from beside Alex. He turned and saw the player Natalia, or in her real name, Natasha Romanoff. I thought of a funny situation. You arrived early. Alex responded after seeing that Natasha had arrived 5 minutes before the scheduled time. But you arrived even earlier. Natalia replied with a smile because she arrived early and Notch was already here before her. I don't have a lot of work to do, so I have some free time to wander around Hypixel. Alex replied. Natasha raised her eyebrows slightly. She thought he must have a lot of work to deal with these nearly 200,000 players, but apparently it wasn't all that much work. What do you work with? Natalia asked, showing a lot of curiosity. Alex had to admit, this spy's acting is very good. If she applied to be an actress, with her looks she could definitely land the starring role in any movie. I have a farm. I'm not a big fan of busy places, other than Minecraft, of course, after all it's just a game here. Alex replied before asking villager for a cup of coffee. At Hypixel there were exclusive foods and drinks, as well as coffee or juices. This type of food could not be obtained in normal Minecraft, which made many foodies play Minecraft just to look for emeralds to come and taste Hypixel foods. Oh, I was thinking to myself, Minecraft is a very magical place. Is this really just a game? My friends even think this is something like another world. Natalia asked, pretending to be really just speculating. But Alex knew that she was actually trying to get information from him, both about how Minecraft worked and whether he really was the creator of this game. Do you really think that? Well, it's not unfounded as it's very realistic. Alex replied. But considering the method of getting into the game, being able to do livestream and all that other stuff, I find it hard to think that it's not just a game. That makes sense, but I still can't stop doubting that Minecraft is just a game. Natalia commented she was taking the coffee that villager brought her and Alex. Well, I've read some stories on the internet about games like that, but that was in the distant future. With the technology from Stark Industries, I don't doubt that this game could be something experimental for them and they're just trying to cover it up. Alex said a theory. Maybe, but as Tony Stark likes to show off, I find it hard for him not to say about this game anywhere. If this really was his, he would have already told everyone about it and made a big splash about the game. Natalia gave a counterpoint. But are you afraid of the game? Alex asked Natasha with a smile on her face. But are you afraid of the game? Alex asked Natasha with a smile on her face. Natasha saw Alex look deep into her eyes and felt insecure for the first time. She was used to handling many missions and her disguises were always perfect. It was almost impossible for anyone to distrust her, but seeing the way Notch was looking at her, Natasha really felt that this person knew who she was and what her intentions were. But after a second she composed herself and responded. Fear. Maybe humans fear the unknown, don't they? Maybe this could be something done by an evil person with impure intent. Alex let out a laugh. Yes, who isn't afraid? It's natural for humans to be afraid of things they don't know. That makes sense, but one thing I learned on my farm is that it's better to use the fear of tigers to build a fence so that the foxes don't kill the chickens. Often the tigers we're afraid of may even be killing the foxes without us knowing, but because of that tiger we have a fence that protects the chickens from less dangerous things. Natasha was shocked to hear this. If the analogy of what Notch said was true, it meant he was saying they might be afraid of Minecraft and try to protect themselves from it, but that there are dangerous enemies in the dark attacking all the time and they didn't even notice. The conversation was very pleasant, Natalia, but unfortunately I have to feed my pigs now. I hope you have fun. Notch left after a few more minutes of conversation, leaving Natasha alone in thought. This conversation with Notch was very enlightening. At that point she was pretty sure Notch really was the creator of Minecraft, and that he knew she was part of the Shield. That analogy of his was a warning to S.H.I.E.L.D. You may fear me, but my help is needed, even if you don't know it. I have to report this. Natasha logged out of Minecraft and ran to Fury's room to report the entire conversation. Even though she recorded everything, in secret, via the game's camera system, still a personal report with her thoughts on the case was essential. Hey Tony, didn't you really make Minecraft? My superiors keep pestering me to find out the truth. A male voice came from the stairs. Tony Stark, who was currently working on one of his armor, turned angrily and answered. Rhodes, for the umpteenth time, I didn't make this damn Minecraft. James Rhodes came down the stairs with a frustrated expression as he looked at Tony. He knew that Tony hadn't made Minecraft. After all, if Tony had made the game it would probably be called StarkCraft. But still he had to ask again because of his superiors. Fine, I won't ask any more. But have you figured out how this game is made yet? Rhodes asked hopefully. Tony asked out loud. Jarvis, how is the Minecraft decoding process going? Suddenly, a robotic voice rang out from the workshop speakers. Sir, only 1% was able to decode. Tony was shocked by this. He had asked Jarvis to decode Minecraft at Rhodes' request 2 days ago. He thought this would be an easy thing as apparently this was just a simple computer game. But he didn't think Jarvis wouldn't be able to decode just 1% of the game. What was decoded? Tony asked. Just the website, which looks like a simple sales page on the Steam platform but apparently has its own server that can't be analyzed or taken down. Not even my best DDoS attack had any effect. Like it sometimes says, it was just a stone in the ocean. Jarvis replied in a robotic voice. Tony was shocked. He is known as the greatest genius of mankind. Jarvis is the best artificial intelligence ever invented. Why this simple computer game cannot be analyzed by him? Ignoring Rhodes, Tony sat down in front of the nearest computer and decided to try decoding this game himself. The game download completed instantly and Tony soon began trying to hack the game file to try and get the information he wanted. But to Tony's surprise, he wasn't even able to access the game files. According to the program he developed for this, not even the software's protection language was understandable, apparently something far above what his program supported. Shit, how did he do that? Tony yelled in shock. Nobody knows. The Pentagon has already hired all the most famous hackers wanted by Interpol and none of them have even managed to decode the game page. It's surprising that Jarvis managed to do that in such a short time. Rhodes commented. Of course Jarvis is better than those nerds who just stay at home cloning rich people cards. Tony said proudly. But right after looking at the computer screen again and seeing that he couldn't decode any of this game, he quickly lost that pride and felt frustrated. Do you think you can figure something out? Rhodes asked worriedly, as this was the first time he had seen Tony this frustrated about something. Tony is a guy who always looks happy, always flaunting the money and intelligence he has at every possible opportunity. Even hacking into the courthouse computer where he was tried for possessing the Iron Man armor, but this trusting friend of his at the time was showing such frustration now that it was surprising. Do you have any questions? Of course I can do it, I just need a few more days to develop a better decoding program so it can understand this game's language and I'll tell you the news. Tony said confidently again. There's nothing in this world that I, Tony Stark, can't understand. And it's not going to be a simple computer game that's going to take that title away from me. Alex needed a day to develop the event he was planning. This would be Minecraft's biggest event, as the game now has over 200,000 copies sold. With Minecraft sales alone, Alex had already earned approximately 20,000 gaming points, and considering VIP and DLC sales, that figure rose to approximately 30,000 gaming points. That was an amount Alex couldn't even dream of when he had just received the system, but now 1,000 gaming points could be earned very easily. Alex decided to look into the skill store and see if there was anything useful for him. Skills shop. Dominic Toretto driving skills, 3,000 gaming points. Closing square bracket. Elf breath, 5,000 gaming points. Closing square bracket. Deadshot weapon mastery, 10,000 gaming points. Closing square bracket. Grave Fullbuster Ice Magic, 100,000 gaming points. Closing square bracket. Megaman Fire Magic, 500,000 gaming points. Closing square bracket. Natsu Dragneel Dragon Slayer Fire Magic, 1 million gaming points. Closing square bracket. What little pride Alex took after seeing that he had 30,000 gaming points was drained after seeing that he didn't even have enough to buy Ice Magic. But among the things he could buy, there was something that caught Alex's attention. Curious, he asked the system for more details. Elf breath, 5,000 gaming points. Closing square bracket. Description: a style of meditation used by elves to absorb good properties from nature. This breathing has no direct effect in combat, but helps the user consume better nutrients from food, rest better during sleep, and if used for a long time tends to increase the wearer's longevity. Ps. They say it has a beautifying effect. Closing square bracket. Alex was shocked by this ability. The price of it was too high considering that after converting it to dollars it would be the equivalent of $1 million. But after seeing the effect it had, Alex bought it without thinking twice. He knew a lot of things he wanted to do during the day, and having to sleep 10 hours every day was very limiting for Alex, so something like that was essential. Not to mention the effect of nourishing the body and increasing longevity. If something like this were put on the market, let alone $1 million, even $1 trillion would be cheap. Purchase. Closing square bracket. After buying this, a flurry of information surged through Alex's mind, much like the memory pills he had used to remember the details of Minecraft. In just a few minutes Alex found the perfect way to practice this elvish breath and put it into practice. In, out, in, out. Alex spent 30 minutes in the lotus position and quickly felt the difference that breathing in this way made for his body. Compared to the way he breathed before, it was as if he now breathed the pure air of green farms, whereas before it was as if he was breathing in a toxic waste sewer. It was difficult for Alex to explain in words, but in just 30 minutes of breathing like this Alex felt his body was ecstatic, thanking for the fresh air and gradually repairing the damage caused by the weather. Alex didn't have a way of measuring how much elven breathing had repaired his body and rejuvenated it, but he knew that if he breathed like this 24 hours a day for a few years, he would definitely age several times more slowly, i.e., holding that breath Elphica Alex could live several times longer. Seeing that this skill cost 5,000 gaming points and already had such a miraculous effect, Alex kept trying to buy other more expensive skills and see what it could do with him. But in the end he controlled himself and didn't buy anything else. He only had 25,000 gaming points now, and he would need that to make the next game. Basic RPG 5,000 gaming points. Advanced RPG 50,000 gaming points. Triple A RPG 500,000 gaming points. Closing square bracket. He already had enough to make a basic RPG, but he wanted the next game to be something much bigger, so he intended to collect another 25,000 gaming points to develop an advanced RPG. As much as that was a very high amount of gaming points, with the amount of daily Minecraft sales, Alex calculated that he would need a maximum of 2 weeks to gather that amount, or if the event he held was well received by players, perhaps that time would be shortened to just a week. With a smile on his face, Alex sat down at the computer and began to develop the event he would do for Minecraft. This would probably be the most memorable event in the game, as Alex intended to make this a main theme among the games he was going to make. Minecraft didn't have a story mode, but Alex intended to make one with this event. Hypixel would be invaded, players would need to fight to protect the city, or it would be destroyed and they would lose the features that made it so fun. Monsters would come from the skies, the earth, the underground, from everywhere. The villagers would be scared while the players would be the only ones able to protect the city. Players would need to band together against a powerful enemy that even controlled dragons like kittens. The amount of monsters attacking the city would be desperate, but Alex already had in mind a way to make the players manage to deal with that. Of course, he didn't intend to let players solve this problem. At most these players would be able to make the enemy back down, but with that Alex would be able to create the first story of the game, a story that would continue through the new games and that would make players shiver only to remember the enemy they would face. The enemy that would bring the world together, someone that perhaps not even Thanos could match. That enemy that would go against the Minecraft system, which appeared only once in history and which later became just a legend. In a few days players would know despair, because Herobrine would return. Alex was very excited to make this event work, so for the next 2 days Alex just planned everything that would happen, and even when it would happen. For starters, Alex needed a moment where few players were online, but among those players there was someone recording what was going to happen. As Minecraft was a different VR game, many players tended to play Minecraft while they slept, as their bodies would go into sleep mode while their minds went to Minecraft, which was enough for people to do for a few days. But Alex had added a function in the game so that the player would be unable to play if he did it for 3 consecutive days, since the function of sleep was not only to rest the body, but also the mind, so to prevent players from going crazy, Alex only allowed them to play non-stop for 3 days before forcing them to sleep. As players tended to stay overnight in Minecraft, Alex found that the best time to run the event was 10 o'clock. This was the time the children and teenagers were at school, and most adults were working. Of course, Minecraft became known around the world, but for now 80% of the Minecraft audience was still US, so relying on US weather was still the most effective way to calculate things for Alex. With a smile on his face, Alex managed to complete everything after 3 days. The time to develop this event should have been 1 day less, but Alex was all the time thinking about keeping the elvish breath active. It was not hard to notice when he stopped using the elven breath, as the feeling of breathing in a sewer it came whenever he stopped. But always thinking about breathing that way was a lot harder than Alex imagined. He always forgot to use this breath and got dizzy from the bad feeling of breathing normally, causing him to have to stop developing the event and focus on elvish breathing again to clear the body of the impurities he inhaled. When Alex slept he felt like he was being hugged by angels, having such a comfortable sleep that it was difficult to wake up, of course, other than the hours he woke up from stopping using elvish breathing. But after 5 hours of sleep, as much as Alex wanted to stay asleep, he couldn't do it anymore. His body was full of energy begging him to go do something to spend it. Unfortunately he couldn't develop the event with this excess energy, as he would just sit in front of the computer typing on the keyboard, which made him restless. To resolve this, Alex got up and left his little cabin. After the launch of Minecraft, the only thing Alex did outside the cabin was gather some firewood to light the fireplace and warm up. Even though almost a month had passed since Alex had released Minecraft, the snow outside his cabin was still as thick as when he came to this world. Since he now knew he was in Marvel's world, Alex was curious as to why no one had found him yet. There are many powerful beings in this world. Even one of the most powerful beings in the universe lived on Earth and had a big bald head. Alex thought the crone would come to talk, or rather interrogate him about Minecraft, but that never happened. Knowing the woman's personality, Alex knew that she had probably been trying to locate him for a long time, but if she hasn't come by now, it's probably because this place is isolated by something. The only thing Alex could think is that what is isolating this world from the outside is something system had done with some of the powers in it, but Alex didn't really care about that. At the moment the only thing he thought about was expending his energy, so with elvish breathing active, Alex ran through the dark forest into the night at a speed he didn't even know he could reach. His body muscles were getting healthier every day, to the point where body fat was being consumed daily to tone his muscles, making Alex's body stronger than ever. Alex knew that in order to stay with the current body he was in, he would have to diet for several months while attending a gym with an intense workout. But with elvish breathing, Alex got the same result just by eating, sleeping, and exercising a little for those 3 days. And Alex knew that the longer he used elvish breathing, the healthier he would become. No wonder elves were so cute. With something as magical as this technique, it's impossible not to be cute. Alex told himself as he looked at his reflection in a large block of ice on the way back to his cabin. The sun was already rising, so Alex felt he needed to shower and get ready to start the event today. But there was something that made Alex a little suspicious. He had never gone as far from his cabin as he did today, and as he ran it was dark, which prevented him from seeing it, but now that the sun was rising, Alex could see perfectly well that there was a cave near his cabin, a cave he had never noticed. What's inside this cave? Maybe a bear? Alex wondered as he approached the cave. But the closer he got to the cave, the more elvish breathing told Alex that too much foul air was coming from inside. It wasn't impurity as something evil, but as if too many mineral molecules were in the air, which would be very bad for anyone who breathed it. Is this pollution? Alex wondered in surprise as he felt it. Until a hunch came to Alex's mind. Could this be a tunnel to a city? After all, the city air has a lot of carbon monoxide. Alex wondered with a hand on his chin. He was tempted to go into that portal and see which city was on the other side, but he knew that right now there could be many powerful humans trying to find him, and since his body was more powerful these days, he wasn't even close to scratching these powerful humans. Going through it would put me at unnecessary risk. Maybe I'll go through it when I have enough strength to protect myself, Alex said to himself with a determined look before turning away and heading back to the cabin. On the way home, Alex turned to the cave with longing in his eyes, but every time he just gave up and tried to ignore it. It was something very tempting for a person who had been isolated for almost 2 months to be able to get in touch with civilization again, but for now he intended to be content only with contact with other people through Minecraft. Maybe one day, Alex sighed. After showering and eating a system breakfast, Alex sat in front of the computer and prepared to start the event he was planning. Alex planned this event to last 7 days, and after those 7 days the trailer for the new game would be released to players. Even though Alex still didn't have enough gaming points to start making the game, he had already planned out most of the features the game would have and the things he would need to change to make it work in this world, so the development process would be fast. And with the hype he was planning for this event, Alex was sure that Minecraft sales would take off, and before 7 days he would already receive the remaining gaming points to develop the game. It was 9:50 a.m. Of the 200,000 people who bought Minecraft, at that time there were only approximately 27,000 people online in the game. That's considering people playing single-player mode, Hypixel and private servers. Considering that at peak hours the game had over 150,000 people online, it was now one of the times with the fewest players. But that was exactly what Alex wanted. With a smile on his face, Alex used the Herobrine account and logged into Hypixel. Wong and the Sorcerers of Kamar Taj were part of that small amount of players that was online in Minecraft. As this was the crone's task, every day they logged into the game to try to learn about Thaumcraft's magic. And since they had no obligations like work or school, these disciples basically spent the entire day at the game. But as it was so tiring just to be on a private server they bought to study magic together, sometimes they would log into Hypixel to eat some game food, or even play the minigames that the server had. With the release of Thaumcraft and Industrialcraft, it became easier for players to kill Ender Dragon using the resources that came in these DLCs, so the population of players playing Skyblock had increased a lot as more players got the Ender Dragon egg. And Kamar Taj's disciples got addicted to playing Skyblock too. The economy system of this mini-game was amazing. It should be known that to be accepted as a disciple of Kamar Taj it was necessary that one had a very important destiny. Both great entrepreneurs and geniuses in some area were common to see in that place, so when they killed Ender Dragon and started to playing Skyblock, you could say they have become one of the main groups there. Hey Wong, did you manage to find out anything about magic tonight? A disciple asked with a frustrated expression. They had already tested it and found that Thaumcraft's magic really wasn't impossible to do in the real world. But even with that finding, putting it into practice was an entirely different matter. I've tested a few things and I think I've made a very important breakthrough. Maybe in a few weeks I'll be able to make a practical Taumnamaikan. Of course, I'm still not sure if that will work, but if it's really true, this could be a revolution for human magic. Wong said excitedly. Humans in the Marvel Universe couldn't control magic and generate it on its own, forcing users to sign contracts with demons or extract magic from other planes in order to do something. But with the knowledge they received from Thaumcraft, it was quite likely that they could finally start using magic for even more amazing things in the future, and might even stop relying on other dimensions someday. Boom! A huge explosion sounded, alerting all players who were resting on the Hypixel. Players were shocked. Those who play Minecraft have already got used to explosions, as dying to creepers was a frequent occurrence for players. Even playing with TNTs was something they did with ease. But this time it was different. The explosion that happened was something on a much larger scale. Looking around, players saw something they couldn't believe. Around the city of Hypixel was a great wall that players were never able to scale. Even though many tried, there were no blocks to hold up to the top, just leaving players stuck there with doubts about what it was like on the other side of that wall. But now something they never imagined has happened. In the Great Wall there was a hole. Wong was shocked and looked around confused. The other players didn't know what to do either. Suddenly a notification popped up in front of all Minecraft players, even players on private servers or players in single-player mode. Dear citizens of Hypixel, the city is under attack by an unknown force. Please help protect Hypixel. Closing square bracket. What? The city is under attack. The disciple beside Wong screamed in fear. That was the reaction of the thousands of Minecraft players. They thought that Hypixel was a comfortable and cozy place that the Minecraft developers had made for them to rest, but who would have thought that this place could be attacked? The quest, Protect Hypixel, has been activated. If you want to participate in the quest, enter Hypixel and help protect the city. If players manage to defend the city from the invasion of the unknown enemy, everyone who participates in the defense will receive a gold limited cape, embroidered with Hypixel Defender. Closing square bracket. If before players were just scared about this invasion, now their mindset has shifted 180 degrees. Especially after reading the word limited, referring to the cover. Almost every player had seen one of the players wearing the Ender Dragon cape proudly parading around town, and they were frustrated that they couldn't have a cape as cool as this one, but now the opportunity has arisen. They knew that almost every player would accept the task, so almost everyone would be given a cape like that and it wouldn't be as special as the Ender Dragon cape, but with the speed that Minecraft was growing, soon new players arrived, and then who wouldn't be jealous of their covers? Let's fight! A player shouted excitedly. The X-Men were startled when a summons came from Professor Xavier for everyone to gather in the mansion room. Most students studied at the mansion with private lessons from mutant teachers, only a small minority went to regular school. So when Professor Xavier called everyone together, they were worried. It already had to be something very urgent to call the more than 100 people at the institute. "Hey guys, is Magneto taking a hostage town?" Evan asked as he approached. Kurt thought for a moment and replied, "Something like that is probably going on, otherwise the teacher wouldn't interrupt everyone's classes. I'm happy, our next class would be with Mr. Logan, so missing one of his classes is cause for joy," Kitty said with a big smile on her face. As they walked to the conference room, all the students started speculating about what was going on. Some thought Magneto was attacking humans, others thought some new enemy had emerged. There were even some students worried that people had discovered they were a school for mutants. Until Rogue, better known as Anna, screamed in fear, "Hypixel is being attacked." When the students heard this, they were all shocked. "What do you mean Hypixel is being attacked? Does the government want to take down Minecraft?" A student screamed in fear. "It cannot be." A girl screamed, "No, Hypixel City is under attack." Anna yelled to warn the others. Hearing this, they were momentarily relieved, until they remembered how big the walls of Hypixel were and thought of what must be happening for Hypixel to be attacked. "Who is attacking?" A girl who was normally very shy asked angrily. Even Anna was scared by the reaction of this girl who was always sweet and cute to everyone. But she still responded with a bit of fear. "No one knows who it is, but there are 2 ender dragons flying over Hypixel while zombies and skeletons have broken through the wall and started to invade the city, but players are thinking it might be a person," she said as she continued to watch the news on the internet. "Who?" students asked apprehensively. But before Anna could respond, a familiar voice answered before her as she entered the conference room. "Herobrine," Professor Xavier said in a serious voice. The students were shocked by Professor Xavier, they didn't even know he played Minecraft. "Professor, why do you know that?" Anna asked, a little confused. She already knew that the professor played Minecraft, but she didn't think he cared so much about the game that he already knew this news. According to the website she was reading, the city had started being invaded 10 minutes ago. Shouldn't the professor have been worried about Magneto's actions since he called the meeting? Unless, Anna was shocked to imagine something. "Because that's why I called all of you here. I know that among the Xavier Institute students, pretty much all of you play Minecraft, and I realized how well this game does for the entire mutant community, since in Hypixel everyone they can act like everyday people and even interact and befriend other people without worrying about their own safety. I heard about the Hypixel invasion 5 minutes ago, so I called you all over," Professor said in a serious voice. Upon hearing this, Anna felt that what she imagined was really right. The students were still surprised to know that the teacher thought so highly of Minecraft, but as they remembered the friends they made, and the happy times they had in the game with other strangers, they felt that the teacher's words really made sense. "Professor, you summoned us too." Not even Scott Summers, who was the leader of the younger X-Men, believed that Professor Xavier had summoned everyone to what he was imagining. But when the teacher responded, they finally believed it. "Yes, I called everyone to ask you to join Hypixel and help defend the city. I will also connect so we can fight humanity together and defend that place that has always treated us so well." Professor Xavier had a big smile on his face, and the confidence he displayed inspired the students. Before, they just saw Minecraft as a much more fun game than the others, but after hearing the teacher's words they finally understood how important it was, and they didn't want to let Hypixel be destroyed by anyone. "Let's go," Kurt yelled excitedly. "You can count on me." Evan was also excited. "And with me. Also with me. ... Soon the students ran back to their own rooms to access personal computers to play. Other students went to the library, even to some classrooms to play games, as not everyone had their own computer and all the public computers in the house were busy. At that time more than 100 mutants connected to Minecraft to help defend Hypixel. And it wasn't just at Mansion X that people gathered to help defend Hypixel. In some communities, companies, many industries stopped what they were doing to help in the Hypixel battle. Even S.H.I.E.L.D. dispatched some agents to fight in the Battle of Hypixel, on the one hand to get more information about this mysterious game and what was going on, and on the other hand to protect the city that provided various strength potions for them all. Weeks. People who didn't know what was going on were confused as they walked around town and saw some stores being hastily closed. Some people even thought that the towns they lived in were being attacked, but when asked why the stores closed they were even more confused. Hypixel is being attacked. Why is this so important to you? Are you giving employees time off because you have to play? What kind of boss are you? What the hell is Hypixel? The East Wall has been invaded, we need people to help defend. A player came running to the town square. Here, in the town square, several famous players were gathered. Most of these players are known through the Hunger Games rankings or the Skyblock rankings. Among these players, all were wearing colored capes. But among these people there were some who had more prestige than others, and these were the people who wore black capes with purple accents, the Cape of Ender Dragon. We're going to send Team 38 there, they just defended the West Wall and got a lot of powerful items. Shuri said with a serious expression, as if she really was an experienced general of a large army, which contrasted a lot with her cute appearance. When monsters started to invade, players didn't have equipment to fight these monsters, so they just punched until they killed the monsters. But luckily they found that killing monsters was dropping items like swords and armor, which made it much easier to kill more and more monsters. Initially players were just attacking without any coordination, until Ned the King started issuing some orders for more efficient ways to attack and players started listening to his tactics to improve the city's defense. Unfortunately, Ned was just an ordinary student, so his tactics were limited to just the war strategy games he had played before, but soon other players with Ender Dragon cloaks came up next to him and they started arguing about tactics, even that a small chain of command has formed between the players. If this were another game, players would hardly listen to other players and just act as they pleased, but this was Hypixel. Here they really saw and interacted with other people in person, a place where they could have a lot more fun than traveling to other countries, so nobody wanted to do something wrong and be the cause of the downfall of this magical city. Alright, Team 38, please go to the West Gate and help the teams there defend the wall, don't let any monsters invade. Ned yelled to the 38 players, who soon ran to the West Gate holding the stone swords they received from killing monsters. The players soon discovered that the attack was being carried out in waves. The first wave gave players wooden swords, the second wave gave players stone swords, the third wave they didn't know yet. Those dragons haven't attacked yet. A man with long black hair said with a thoughtful expression. His nickname was Teacher. Yes, as with each attack wave the equipment is improving, maybe these dragons only attack after players have diamond swords. A woman replied. Her nickname was Natalia. Has anyone gotten a bow yet? Dealing with dragons without bows will be a suicidal task. A white-haired black woman commented. Her nickname was McQueen. Not yet, so far the amount of skeletons in the waves was very low, none of them dropped a bow. But maybe in the next waves this could be higher. Ned replied. Reporting to the leaders, 200 more players have connected in the town square and want to help in the battle. A player arrived at the command center with an excited expression. Because of this player's cape, people might think he was also part of the player's command team, as he wore an Ender Dragon cape, but this player only spent a few minutes in the command center and got really bored before he decided to go out and help the fight into their own hands. This player's nickname was P. Parker. Ned and Peter were at school when the Hypixel attack started, but when they found out what was going on, the two ran away because they were sick and managed to escape classes very easily. As both had very high grades, it was not difficult to convince the teacher to release them to go home. Very well, take them to the weapons warehouse and tell them to each get a wooden sword. If they get a stone sword they must return the wooden sword to the warehouse, and let them know about sword donations. Ned said with a smile to Peter. Okay. Heater responded excitedly before running back to spawn and taking the players to the warehouse. Players had obtained many wooden swords in the first wave, and when they received stone swords from the second wave, the leaders decided to save the wooden swords for new players who wanted to do battle, while the surplus stone swords would be stored for the players to use after they die. When they died, the swords they used disappeared, so they always needed more weapons. Pete Parker took the new players to the warehouse and each received a wooden sword from the player named Melage02. They were in charge of the warehouse as they were very smart and disciplined. Did Team 01 manage to kill the boss? Shuri asked Professor Xavier. I haven't heard from them yet, but I trust those players' sense of battle. Professor replied with a smile. Team 01 was the X-Men team. Among them were Kurt, Scott, Jean, Anna, Kitty and Logan, who just wanted to fight and kill monsters. Xavier, Aurora and Hank were at the command line. Boom! Fireworks sounded in the center of the city, which made players scream in excitement and start attacking the monsters even more excitedly. When players killed the first wave boss, fireworks sounded in celebration, so as it happened again, this can only mean that Team 01 managed to kill the second boss as well. I think we have our answer, Princess. Professor replied with a smile. Yeah, glad you got it. Shuri aka Princess responded happily. Players soon finished killing the monsters as they regrouped in the center of town to hear their next orders. After each wave, the players had 15 minutes to rest and shower in real life if they needed to, so this was also the time they would gather to discuss new ideas. At this point, while the players were talking seriously downtown, Alex was flying invisible through the city with a smile on his face. He was prepared to implement the second part of his plan. While players had 15 minutes of rest, Alex was controlling a new feature he added to Minecraft and no one knew. Until the second round, there were only normal monsters that attacked the walls, and a bigger monster that represented the boss, with more health, more damage and more speed than normal monsters. But for Alex it was just an entrance to the grand feast. He had planned that today there would only be 3 waves of monsters, so players would spread about what happened in the city and that would bring in even more players to help defend the city the next day. But to end the day's attack well, Alex had planned something special. In his old world there was a very famous Minecraft mod called Mutant Mobs, which basically added mutant mobs much more powerful than normal game mobs. Initially Alex intended to use these mobs as the bosses of each wave, but then he dropped that and decided to make it something special, as he intended to make it big, so with a smile on his face, Alex finished preparing the scene he had. He imagined and flew out of town before becoming visible again. The players had divided up the items they had collected and were all very confident for the next wave of monsters. Until suddenly thunder sounded. Boom! The players were startled, as a few seconds ago it was still daylight. But after the thunder the game turned into night and they could only see 2 small white dots floating in the sky. What is that? Maybe it's 2 stars. But there are no other stars, the sky is clear. So I don't know. Suddenly the 2 white dots approached and the players could finally see what it was. Is a player? A player asked in surprise. That looks like a Steve. Another player commented. But he doesn't have a name on top of his head. Another player said, I know. It's Herobrine. A player screamed in shock. Wait, is Herobrine real? Players were surprised by this. Looking up at the sky they saw a Steve with bright eyes and no pupils. This perfectly matched the description of Herobrine they had heard about, and even the look and feel of the video they saw. Unlike players with skins that looked like Herobrine, which only left the pupil white, this Herobrine's eyes were really glowing. At this point a creepy music started playing in the background causing some players to start shaking. But before it got too heavy, Herobrine started talking. So it means that you are the ants that are protecting the Hypixel. Hearing this the players were even more scared. Herobrine's voice was very low and full of noises, as if it was being modulated by some program, but players knew that it was impossible for something like this to happen in Minecraft, so they thought that this was really a voice from hell. Haha, too bad, so many ants willing to die to protect my city. Don't worry, after I destroy this I'll make a city even better. Herobrine said with a disturbing smile. But you won't be welcome. He yelled, causing another thunder to fall from the sky. At this point the players were really scared, to the point that some even dropped their own swords in fear of fighting this enemy. But at that moment, on the one hand the sky started to lighten again and Herobrine frowned. Stop, brother, you know you don't have to do this. A familiar voice sounded very sad. Many players were confused because they already knew this voice but couldn't remember who it was. Until they saw another figure flying in the sky and were shocked. This is Notch. A player yelled. Upon hearing this player's scream, players soon realized that it really was Notch who was flying in the sky. Most players knew Notch and liked him a lot, as he always helped others, and even players who never met Notch had heard of this player from their friends. But they were very confused about why Notch could fly. After all, no player could fly in Hypixel other than when playing Build Battle. So he really is the creator of this world. A calm, friendly voice said to himself with a satisfied smile on his face. Teacher. But because of the silence that was in the area, all the other players heard it too and were shocked by this revelation. No one knew who the creator of Minecraft was, and there were even some people who speculated it was Notch, but no one really believed it. But seeing him flying in the sky now was the biggest proof of that they could have. Notch really is the creator of Minecraft. Players were shocked again. But why did he call Herobrine his brother? Soon this question arose in everyone's minds, but Herobrine screamed angrily, preventing that thought in the players' minds. Shut up. Don't ever call me that again. Herobrine yelled angrily and more lightning began to appear, causing the sky to turn dark again. But Notch let out a sad cry and warded off the darkness once more. You will always be my brother. Notch yelled sadly. Misks, deal with these ants. Herobrine screamed angrily as he made countless rays fall from the sky. Where lightning strikes, dozens of zombies would appear and run frantically into the city. Soon the players realized what was happening and started to defend themselves. Brothers, defend Hypixel. Don't let Herobrine destroy our city. Ned screamed like a king, making all the players around him squeal together as they ran towards the monsters with their eyes gleaming. They realized that Notch and Herobrine had a deeper story and were dying to know what that story was, but the monster attack didn't allow these players to just watch and made them rush to defend the city. Boom! Until a huge beam fell to the ground, causing several blocks around to be destroyed. In that place a giant zombie with huge muscles appeared. Zombie. Smash. The zombie screamed with madness as it ran towards the players at a very fast speed and killed every player in its path. Notch and Herobrine began fighting in the sky until they slowly flew away from the city as they fought. Players were excited to see what would happen and fought with all their might, but on the other hand, in a remote city in Brazil, an American man was shocked while looking at a livestream on his cell phone. That is a Hulk. Dr. Bruce Banner wondered in disbelief as he saw the mutant zombie attacking the players. After Notch and Herobrine left the player's view, Alex made Notch's body disappear and became invisible again. He programmed the game so that every few minutes some thunder would erupt in the direction they came out, so players would think that there really was a huge battle going on there. And after that calmly flew back to the city while he was invisible. As he flew back to town, Alex looked at the amount of spectators who were watching this. Ned the King 72,145 viewers. Shuri 37,484 viewers. Crawler 9,526 viewers. Opening square bracket ... Closing square bracket. When the event started, there were 20,000 Minecraft players, now there were 70,000 players defending the city. Probably the rest of the players who weren't in the game were watching the live streams, and this has made Minecraft streamers soar up the Twitch rankings, drawing even more audiences to the player streams, thus snowballing more people, attracted more people. Alex looked curiously at Crawler's livestream comments to see what people were saying. Damn, is this a movie with several different views on each livestream? Closing square bracket. This is amazing, it's better than the movie I saw in the cinema today. I'm going to call my girlfriend to my house to watch Minecraft. Closing square bracket. So on this livestream the movie character is a frontline warrior. While the livestreams above are people from the command line. This is amazing. I've never seen a movie like this. Closing square bracket. Herobrine and Notch seem to be brothers. What an incredible plot. The population of this town thought that Notch was just an ordinary person but found out that he is a god in disguise among them. Closing square bracket. Alex was confused reading these comments. Are these people thinking this is a movie? He wondered, not knowing what to do. Until some comments emerged explaining the situation. Guys, this is not a movie, this is the PC game. Anyone can participate in this story and fight alongside these people. They are all players, just look for Minecraft on Steam. Closing square bracket. Guys, this is not a movie, this is the PC game. Anyone can participate in this story and fight alongside these people. They are all players, just look for Minecraft on Steam. Closing square bracket. Opening square bracket. Closing square bracket. The person who commented on this was a livestream moderator, who had to send this message multiple times in the chat so viewers could see it. Kurt had told this moderator to explain to the audience what was going to happen while he focused on the battles, as Kurt was on Team 01 and couldn't help but pay attention to the battle. After these comments, viewers were shocked by this information and quickly searched Minecraft on Steam to see if it was true. When they saw that this really was a game, they didn't think twice and paid the $20 to participate. The average game price was $60 to $70 for each game, so being able to play Minecraft that looked so amazing for just $20 was something they didn't even hesitate before doing. Alex soon noticed that the Minecraft sales number was going up really fast, probably because it was happening across all the live streams, which made him very happy. That was exactly his purpose for this event, to make the game even more famous to attract a lot more players. Alex looked again at Crawler's stream and saw that while fighting Mutant Zombie, there were two very skilled players with a lot of synergy. Wolverine and Sabretooth. If it was before knowing which world he was in, Alex would probably just think that these two players were great friends who had been training together for a long time, but knowing that this was Marvel's universe, Alex has already discovered the identity of these two players. But still he was shocked at the synergy they had and how well they fought together. Though he could hear the two of them cursing and mocking each other as they battled the boss, Alex knew they had spent at least 100 years fighting together, so they knew each other well enough to cooperate in battle without even realizing it. Maybe Minecraft brings these two brothers together. Alex wondered with a smile on his face before closing Kurt's livestream. The mutant zombie Alex made was much tougher and more powerful than the mod from his previous world, so players had to fight death for almost 2 hours until the zombie was almost dead. But the less life the zombie had, the stronger it got, which made the battle even more difficult. You could say that in this battle, if it weren't for Logan and Victor, the battle would probably take twice as long. But Alex knew it was time for the show to end. It was better to end this battle before the players got tired or bored. After all, this was just a game. So just before Mutant Zombie died, Alex made Notch appear next to him and went back to acting like he was Herobrine. Eric, Notch, I'll be back and with a much stronger army next time. Herobrine yelled as he held his apparently injured arm, drawing the attention of the players around him, who smiled with great satisfaction when they saw that Notch had won. Soon a great thunder engulfed the mutant zombie and made the monster disappear, just as it did with Herobrine, leaving only the weaker smaller zombies that died after a short time. The players started to scream with happiness to see that they had actually defended Hypixel. But soon that happiness crumbled when they looked up. Cough. Notch, who had a confident posture as he looked at the place Herobrine had disappeared to, coughed up a large amount of blood as he quickly flew to the top of one of the buildings surrounding the square. The players froze upon seeing this scene. They had seen how powerful Herobrine was and so many things he could do, but seeing how confident Notch came back they thought everything was fine. But when they saw Notch cough up blood they froze. Apparently this battle didn't go so well. Soon Notch said in a tired voice, "Guys, he's stronger than I thought. Cough cough. This battle, has weakened me too much. Maybe I won't be able to deal with him next time he comes. For now I'll allow you guys bring armor to Hypixel to prepare for the next battle. Please call friends for help, otherwise I think we're going to lose our city. Notch said before collapsing on the roof of the building, out of sight of the players before turning invisible and disappearing. Alex was already invisible in the sky as he watched Notch perform and the players' reactions. When he saw the players' despair, a smile appeared on Alex's face. Yes, that's what I want, be afraid and bring help. He thought excitedly. Now for the news of the day. Hypixel was attacked, thousands of residents died in the battle, but in the end, the citizens of Hypixel still managed to defend the city against the monsters that attacked the place. Closing square bracket. Heimdall was confused after seeing a Midgardian woman telling the news of what was happening on her planet. Heimdall was known for having the ability to see even creation, but in order not to be overwhelmed by the unimaginable amount of information, he limited himself to just observing Asgardians traveling to other worlds. Of course, so as not to get bored, Heimdall sometimes watched other civilizations and enjoyed learning interesting things. One of the things that Heimdall was interested in was television, more specifically the Midgardian news channel, as on these news channels he could know the most important things happening on that planet without needing to expend a lot of strength. But today Heimdall was confused by what he saw on the Midgardian news. Did a war happen? A city was invaded and thousands of Midgardians died. Heimdall wondered confused as he looked around the planet but couldn't find anything the woman was saying on the news. This is weird, maybe this is false information. For those of you who don't know what I'm saying, this battle took place in a game called Minecraft. This is a game that is becoming quite popular around the world, to the point that during the attack on the city of Hypixel today, several stores around the world closed so that the owners could battle and defend the beloved city. Closing square bracket. Heimdall raised an eyebrow in astonishment upon seeing this. On television the Midgardian was showing several images of the battle, and despite the odd square appearance of the images, even Heimdall couldn't see much of a difference between these images and reality. From what he heard of this Midgardian's explanation, this was a technology far ahead of time on this planet, which allowed Midgardians to go to another dimension and fight without worrying about death. Heimdall was petrified. The more he listened to this Midgardiana explaining about this game and the effects this game was having on Midgard, the more Heimdall felt this matter was getting more serious and that he should inform Allfather as soon as possible. Especially after Heimdall tried to use his vision to try to see this other dimension called Minecraft and found he couldn't see it. It is known that in the thousands of years that Heimdall protected Bifrost, there was never anything Heimdall couldn't see in all 9 realms. And now he knew of the existence of another dimension and found that he couldn't see anything from that dimension. Maybe in this dimension there might be powerful enemies just waiting for the perfect moment to attack Asgard, and until a few minutes ago they didn't even know about the existence of this dimension. Before going to report to Allfather, Heimdall continued watching the news to gather as much information as possible and saw something that left him even more shocked. In the videos shown by the Midgardian woman, Heimdall saw 2 unknown gods. Little is known about the reason for the battle that took place in Hypixel, but what players have discovered is that apparently the world of Minecraft was created by Notch and Herobrine, who are brothers, but something happened between them that caused Herobrine to get angry of Notch and wanting to kill all the humans and take Hypixel for himself. Fortunately Notch fought Herobrine while letting the citizens of Hypixel deal with the strongest monsters, but from what Notch told players, the upcoming battles will be even tougher. So as the person in charge of our newspaper's culture board, I recommend for adventure-thirsty people to buy Minecraft and have fun with the family playing this game. Maybe you'll have a few hours of fun playing this. Closing square bracket. Heimdall didn't pay attention to the part where Midgardiana was explaining that this was just a game and that this was just a cultural recommendation for Midgardians. He had been shocked to see the mighty battle between Notch and Herobrine and all the hair on his body stayed goosebumps. At one point he imagined himself fighting those 2 gods and many times he couldn't even see himself being able to do any harm to those gods, as in just a small fraction of their battle. Dozens of houses were destroyed and even the thunder, something that only the Prince of Asgard Thor had the right to command, was being used in battle. Are they gods with the ability to steal deities? Or maybe just use deities from other gods? It's still extremely important. I should go immediately inform the All-Father of what's going on so he can prepare for a possible battle. Heimdall was determined and quickly left Bifrost after a long time and ran towards Odin's palace. While Heimdall was scared of Notch, Herobrine, and especially the Minecraft dimension, the creator of it all, Alex, was sitting in front of his computer while watching Ned's livestream as he sipped a milkshake without even having a clue that the event what he planned was having such a huge impact on the world, and even on other worlds. For him, the only thing that mattered right now was selling more copies of Minecraft and accumulating more gaming points to develop his next game. Just as he imagined it would be, this event was a huge thing, as it caused Minecraft to sell tens of thousands of copies in just the first few hours, a number that will likely increase further once the word gets out. What a yummy milkshake. I'm glad I decided to try it today. Alex said happily as he continued to drink the milkshake lying in the chair, not knowing that several world leaders were having an extremely important discussion because of the game he played. Bruce Banner was still shocked after seeing the livestream on his cell phone. Currently he was hiding in a small town in Brazil, as he knew the US government was after him. One of the best places he thought to hide was Brazil, a place with relatively low public safety and not so much government concerned about what citizens do, meaning a perfect place for an international criminal. There were even rumors that Michael Jackson and Hitler were hiding in Brazil, as they knew they would hardly be found here, but Bruce knew that these rumors were just rumors of idle people. Here he worked in a factory that paid minimum wage, as well as accommodation and meals. With the money he received, Bruce didn't have to worry too much about expenses, as he could just buy the essentials and drink with the friends he made in that country. But yesterday he heard something interesting from one of the men who worked at the factory. My son started playing a game called Minecraft, have you heard about that? Even my wife plays when my son isn't using the computer. Jorge said after taking a sip of the beer. Minecraft. Never heard of it. Lucas responded with a disinterested expression. If I were you, I'd do some research. After my son started playing Minecraft, he stopped still with the bums who live near my house, and he's even messing around less at school. As long as I say if he does something like that wrong he will go 3 days without playing Minecraft, he has become even more obedient. Jorge said with a smile as he continued to drink his beer. After hearing this, Lucas became interested and asked Jorge to explain more about this game. It's a simple game, any computer can handle it, even if it's an old computer. After you pay 40 Brazilian reals, the game is installed on the computer and anyone can play there. It's like magic, you can enter the world with your mind and even eat and drink there. Jorge said with a big smile as he remembered the foods he tasted at Hypixel after his son explained how it worked. Lucas was shocked at first, but after thinking that this game must have been made by some genius in the USA, he calmed down and thought that this was something normal. After all, they say that in the US there is even a man who wears an armor of robot that flies around the city shooting lasers. Making a game like that shouldn't be that hard, right? But while Lucas thought this was normal, Bruce, who was also drinking with these two men, was shocked. He was still following some news from the US and knew that this type of technology was still a long way off from their current times. After he got back to the factory, the first thing Bruce did was log on to the employee dorm Wi-Fi and look up this Minecraft guy. As much as he worked in a factory, Bruce was a genius scientist who had an advanced knowledge of nuclear physics. So like any good scientist, Banner was curious to see what this new discovery could bring of innovation to the world. To the point of even wondering if this technology could somehow help him with the problem he had after being affected by a gamma-ray bomb. But what Bruce didn't expect was to see that the livestream looked like something out of a Disney movie. No, even better than Disney movies, it's almost impossible to distinguish between this game and reality other than the shape of people being square and everything around it matches that. But as boring as the square design can be, Bruce felt drawn to this story that was happening and continued to watch the livestream for hours on end. Finally, he saw Notch asking the players for help and asking if there were others who could help. Bruce was already tired of just working during the day and drinking at some bar at night, so he thought, why not? In the dorm there were some old computers for the staff to use, so using some of his savings, Bruce bought this game which cost 40 Brazilian reals, or in his old country's money, $20, and prepared to go to sleep while the game downloaded to slow internet from the factory. But to Bruce's surprise, the game download was completed in just a few seconds. Initially he thought he had been tricked into buying a pirated version of the game, but after seeing that this really was the game's official Steam page, Bruce got a little worried and hit play to connect to World of Minecraft. But unbeknownst to Bruce, he wasn't the only one who connected to Minecraft. His mind connected to the game, causing Bruce's conscience to go to Minecraft, but inside his mind there was also another conscience. Hulk was asleep until he felt his consciousness was attracted to a bright place, leaving him very scared and angry. But when he saw that his size had decreased and his strength was much smaller than it normally was, Hulk got even angrier and started punching everything in his path. To Hulk's surprise, in this place he could punch anything he wanted. From earth, trees, stone, animals, even ugly people called villagers. Hulk never felt so happy in his life. He was always forced to hold back, and when he smashed something everyone yelled at him and kept shooting at him, but in this place Hulk could smash anything he wanted and no one would criticize him. With a big smile on his face, the Hulk yelled, "Happy Hulk, Hulk crush everything." And so, unbeknownst to anyone, the person with the highest record for broken blocks had started playing Minecraft, and that person was none other than the Hulk. Bruce Banner played Minecraft for a few hours and felt the game was a lot of fun. But what shocked him most was how did this game company manage to make the player aware of this game. As much as he wondered about it, Bruce couldn't find any satisfactory answer to that question. None of the possibilities he could think of made sense. He was even more surprised when he saw news of players getting capes or potions from the game in real life and that it actually applied real effects to people outside of the game. But what really took him to realize was that the anger he needed to control all the time was now gone after he played Minecraft. Since Bruce was hit with the gamma rays, he was constantly angry, and always needed to minimize the effects of that anger as much as possible in order not to turn into the Hulk. But after playing Minecraft, that anger he had been having trouble controlling for so many years had completely disappeared. The Hulk disappeared after I played Minecraft. Bruce wondered in disbelief. But what he didn't know is that while he was in the real world, Hulk hadn't stopped playing Minecraft yet. Hulk at this point was getting a bit angry in Minecraft, but because he had so much fun in that world, he could still think straight as he looked at the rock he had been hitting for 10 minutes. Bedrock. Hulk can't crush this rock, but Hulk wants to crush this rock. Hulk told himself as he looked at bedrock, feeling confused for the first time in his life. Alex didn't realize that even Hulk was having fun in Minecraft, much less that Asgard was considering Minecraft as something dangerous. But even if he did, he wouldn't worry too much, as he knew how many powerful beings there were in Marvel, and he knew that since he hadn't been attacked so far, this place he was in was probably safe. Of course, he knew he needed to improve his own strength, but he was in no rush to spend his gaming points on powers now, as it was better to invest in more games and earn even more points per day. Minecraft sales after the Herobrine attack soared like a rocket. As he heard players commenting that the battle was announced on television, and even with Minecraft's shadow ban on the internet many people learned of the game, the number that once took several days to reach 200,000 sales was now reaching 1 million sales. It had only been 20 hours since the Herobrine attack, but Minecraft had sold nearly 800,000 copies in such a short time. Even though the world was trying to hide this mysterious game, internet people still managed to spread the word about it and let more people find out. Alex was predicting that by the end of the event, Minecraft would have sold at least 10 million copies, or maybe even more. With 5 million copies, Alex would already have enough gaming points to make a AAA RPG. Initially he intended to make an advanced RPG, but with the speed that Minecraft was selling, Alex decided to change his goal to make a AAA RPG. He currently has 140,000 gaming points, which is almost 5 times what he had yesterday. If players are having so much fun with Minecraft, there's no way I can't be excited about how they'll react to the next game. Alex said, laughing as he ate another Shokugeki no Soma sandwich. Have you discovered anything important? Nick Fury asked in an annoyed voice as he glared at his agents. Clinton replied in a serious voice. The physics of that game is different from the physics of our world. I tried shooting some arrows there and I feel like it's much easier there than when I do it with my own bow. Maria Hill also shared what she found. The engineering team at S.H.I.E.L.D. started researching Industrialcraft and they started testing whether it's really viable in our world or not, but according to the engineers, it really does have a chance to work. The problem is that our current technology is too limited to do those things in a short time. Maybe Tony Stark can help with that. Fury nodded and decided to contact Tony Stark again. He thought he would only need Tony for the Avengers initiative, but he found that he would need Tony's genius mind to try to understand Minecraft before he even accepted to join the Avengers. What about Thaumcraft? Has anyone discovered anything? Fury asked. In this, the agents faced each other looking for some answer, but everyone could only shake their heads in denial. They didn't have any solid knowledge of magic, so testing it was unfeasible. That's understandable. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Did you guys find out anything about Notch or Herobrine? Fury asked in a heavy voice. My team couldn't find anything on either of them other than public information that Notch is apparently one of the oldest Minecraft players, which infers that he is possibly the creator of that world, while Herobrine just appeared on a livestream scaring 2 players, but neither of them had done anything substantial before that. An agent said in a tired voice. This agent had spent the last 20 hours looking for any kind of information about Notch or Herobrine, but it was as if these 2 people had never existed before. He even searched for similar names of children who were born several years ago, mostly siblings, but nothing was found. Until Natasha got up and reported what she thought. Notch is apparently not a bad person. I'm pretty sure he really is the creator of Minecraft, but no proof that he was the only one. Or maybe Minecraft was another world they ruled over, but if I can give my opinion, while Notch is an apparently good guy, Herobrine is the opposite, where I would classify as a cruel and bloodthirsty villain. A cruel and bloodthirsty villain. Nick Fury repeated with a tired expression. He knew they couldn't handle it, especially if one of these 2 such powerful beings came to Earth, so the only thought on his mind was to speed up the Avengers initiative and let superhumans handle it. Fortunately, the captain is already recovering. Fury thought as he remembered the captain he planned for this team. Alex was unaware that S.H.I.E.L.D. was discussing Notch and Herobrine, and even an investigation into siblings born with those names around the world was being carried out, but even if he knew, Alex wouldn't care. Not even the Supreme Sorcerer could find out anything about him, let alone S.H.I.E.L.D. that still relies on technological means to find him. After coughing up blood, Nock flew away from the players and became invisible again. He was very surprised at how well these players were organizing. Teams were set, warehouses, supplies, distribution lines, everything was running so well that Alex couldn't imagine a better way to make it happen. Alex saw the players in some places celebrating the victory, while in other places the players were arguing about Nock and Herobrine, but he didn't want those players to be left with their guard down even after the battle was over. Alex's idea was to make players think that monsters could appear at any time. They say nothing is so good that it can't get worse, but the creeper always manages to spoil those plans. Alex said to himself as he picked up a creeper egg, but unlike regular creeper eggs that were green and black, this egg in Alex's hand was green and red. Several rookie players were heading to the warehouse to get a wooden or stone sword wanting to join the battle. Some players had even just bought Minecraft and have already come to battle after watching livestreams on the internet and not even playing single player. Among these rookie players was Bruce Banner. This was his first time getting into Minecraft multiplayer, so he just acted like the other players and was guided to the warehouse to get a weapon and join the battle. Players who have never played Minecraft, Please stay on this side, while experienced players stay on the other side. We need to differentiate you to increase efficiency. A player named Malaje04 yelled at the players. Upon hearing this, 90% of players went to the novice player side, while only 10% went to the experienced player side. This surprised Malaje04, as each time she asked this question to players coming to the depot, the number of newbies compared to veterans increased. Minecraft is getting more and more popular, she thought in shock. But before she could say anything, a rookie player pointed away and asked confused. Hey, what's that green monster with 4 legs? Hearing this, the veteran players just ignored it, thinking it was a random creeper, while paying attention to Malaje04, who was handing out weapons to them first. But as time went on, the number of rookie players screaming about this creeper started to increase, until one veteran player finally looked confused. When he saw the monster, he realized that it really was a creeper, but looking at the size of this creeper and how long its legs were, the player was shocked as he pointed at the creeper without being able to say a word. Upon seeing this shocked player pointing somewhere, other veteran players unconsciously followed the direction this player was pointing and were just as shocked as he was. Shit, what the fuck? One player cursed. Is that a fucking creeper? Another player was shocked. When Malaje04 saw the creeper these players were talking about, she was just as shocked as they were. Shit, I need backup, she said shocked. But since she was a soldier in Wakanda, Malaje04 reacted quickly and shouted at the players. Quickly, enter the warehouse and get swords by yourself. Remember, get only one sword. We need to kill this mutant creeper and protect the warehouse. Hearing Malaje04's scream, players were shocked and excited. Soon the warehouse was filled with players opening chests while taking swords and leather armor to fight this giant monster. Veteran players who had already picked up equipment had already run to the mutant creeper and were trying to use kiting strategy on this monster. But unlike normal creepers that just exploded, this giant creeper also attacked. This creeper's range was greater than that of players, so to attack the creeper at least one player had to be attacked first. Back off! A player screamed after hitting the creeper. Hearing this, the players retreated before coming back and attacking the creeper after a while. In between, low health players moved away from the creeper to eat and recover health, while full health players returned to the monster to try and hit it. Even with players taking precautions, newbie players who didn't understand strategies for dealing with monsters in Minecraft were still dying very fast, but the death of newbies was also creating a lot of opportunities for veteran players to do a lot of damage on the creeper. Unlike regular creepers, this mutant creeper had a lot of health, so players had to hit him hundreds of times for him to die. If all players were skilled, it would be easy to kill the creeper without anyone dying. But since 90% of the players in combat were rookies, the amount of players killed was very high. Malaje04 was at Malaje02's side watching the battle and protecting the warehouse from other monsters that might emerge. Seeing the amount of rookie players dying to kill the mutant creeper, the two women felt a pang in their hearts. When monsters die, they drop equipment for players to pick up, but when players die, the equipment disappears. Every rookie player who died in this battle was a set of equipment that they lost forever. If this battle lasts too long, we will lose all our supply. Malaje02 said in a heavy voice. If we can kill this creeper, it will be worth it. Malaje04 said confidently. But after a while, the two Malaje frowned and looked at each other in confusion. That's a creeper, but why doesn't it explode? Malaje04 asked Malaje02. But before Malaje02 could respond, they saw this creeper mutant's big legs twitch before the creeper mutant darts into the air. Seeing the creeper practically flying, the players' hearts froze. Shit, I thought we had already won the battle, where did this creeper come from? A player who was celebrating far away saw a creeper flying and got scared. Damn, there's a giant creeper flying around. Another player was shocked to see the creeper in the sky. Wait, that's the warehouse over there. Another player screamed in fear as he started to run. Players knew that this was the warehouse where they kept their spare weapons and armor for the players who were joining the battle. If the warehouse was destroyed, these new players could only use their bare hands to hit the monsters, and seeing how powerful the monsters were becoming, that would be a suicidal task. We need to protect the warehouse. Another player screamed in fright as he also ran towards the creeper. Those players who thought the battle was already won suddenly got scared and ran towards the mutated creeper. Alex, who was flying over Hypixel, had a smile on his face when he saw this. That's what he wanted. If players got used to peace, they wouldn't be ready for war in Minecraft. Of course, Alex was exaggerating a bit, but his original intention was to play with the feelings of these players so that when these people left Minecraft, they would tell their friends how amazing this experience was, and that would bring even more players. After the creeper jumped, as soon as he hit the ground, everything around him exploded, including some chests that players were using to store items. But to help in the battle, the players who were protecting the wall also came back and started fighting the creeper. Alex didn't want players to have the satisfaction of killing a mutant monster on the first day, and wanted to save that experience for later days, so with a smile on his face he flew away. Suddenly, in the sky of Hypixel, Notch appeared again. This time he looked even weaker than when he disappeared earlier. Probably his wound was getting worse, but he still came back and flew to the creeper. "Get away from him." Notch said it in a calm way, but I could see how weak his voice was getting. Seeing a pale-faced Notch flying towards them, the players soon began to persuade Notch. "Don't come, Notch, you need to rest." One player yelled worriedly. "Yes, rest, we can handle it." Another player said scared. "Yes, don't come." The players were worried about Notch, but Alex, who was controlling Notch, was frustrated. Even though he was going to help players get rid of this creeper, he also didn't want to give the satisfaction of killing the creeper so soon. But soon he had an idea to deal with it. "We're running out of time." Notch yelled worriedly. Soon thunder fell from the sky and hit the mutant creeper. When struck by thunder, the mutant creeper was left with blue lightning bolts floating around him. Players who were close to the creeper were hit by small lightning bolts that leaked from the creeper and took some damage. Because of the equipment they were using, players could actually defeat the creeper, but it would take hours and a lot of destruction to the city. Upon understanding this, the players quickly walked away from the creeper and let Notch do what he wanted to do. Alex had to control himself not to smile at that moment, but still Notch maintained the pained expression he wore as he pointed a finger at the creeper. When Notch's finger pointed at the creeper, a purple portal just like the Nether portal appeared at the monster's feet and sucked the creeper into the other dimension. Notch turned even paler and started panting, showing the players how tired he was. But still, Notch flew to a higher position above the city, a place where all players could see him, and finally spoke up. "Citizen of Hypixel, unfortunately Herobrine got what he wanted. Since I was born I have tended an apple tree, but for hundreds of years the tree did not bear fruit. Then, after so many years, the tree finally started to sprout fruit, 10 years ago. These fruits were constantly growing and were born healthy yesterday." Notch finished saying and took an item out of his inventory. In Notch's hand, in front of millions of players, a golden apple appeared. This golden apple was so beautiful that it even glowed. "This golden apple is one of the fruits of the tree I planted. Unfortunately the tree only bore 3 fruits, one of the fruits was taken by Herobrine, another is this golden apple in my hand. The third apple had no owner," Notch said with a heavy expression. In front of the millions of players and tens of millions of viewers at home watching the players' livestreams, Notch ate the golden apple. Immediately Notch's body began to heal at a sharp speed. Notch's pale face returned to a healthy color while his hair, which was a little dry at this point, returned to a lot of shine. Players were shocked to have such a result. Not even a single player healing potion could do. Soon Notch continued. "As you can see, this golden apple can heal all of a person's injuries. But not only that, it can also improve a person's physique to twice its current value. Herobrine is my little brother, but he was always stronger than me. Now that he ate a golden apple and his body was twice as strong as before, even though I also ate a golden apple, the distance between us two just increased. So I ask for your help. Help me protect Hypixel, and the person who has the best stake will receive the last golden apple as a reward." Of course, you can also bring the golden apple into your world as well as potions and previous covers. When Notch finished saying the last sentence, silence descended between the players. They were shocked by this golden apple was miraculous. It could cure any disease. It could double someone's strength. If a sick person got the apple, the person would be instantly healthy. If a person in a wheelchair got the apple, the person could walk again. If a poor person got the apple, the person could sell the apple for millions of dollars. Soon the players woke up and started talking excitedly. Everyone wanted that apple. Even though some knew they could never achieve it, it was still worth a try. And while players were excited about this, world governments also started holding emergency meetings to discuss this golden apple. And Alex just watched it with a big smile on his face. After the golden apple announcement, Alex finally disconnected from Minecraft to rest. As much as he hadn't done much physically during this battle, mentally Alex was very tired of having to control Notch and Herobrine, as well as setting up everything necessary for it to work. With a curious eye, Alex opened System to see how many Minecraft copies he had sold during today's event. Minecraft, 1,600,000 games sold minus $32 million. Average time played, 9 hours. Peak concurrent players, 912,110. Total earned servers sold, $70,643. Total earned VIPs, $3,190,975. Basic RPG 5,000 gaming points. Advanced RPG 50,000 gaming points. AAA RPG 500,000 gaming points. Basic Adventure 1,000 gaming points. Advanced Adventure 10,000 gaming points. AAA Adventure, 100,000 gaming points. Basic FPS 500 gaming points. Advanced FPS 5,000 gaming points. AAA FPS 50,000 gaming points. Basic Sandbox 200 gaming points. Advanced Sandbox 20,000 gaming points. Sandbox AAA 2 million gaming points. Alex was shocked. The number of copies sold before the event hadn't even reached 300,000, now that number has jumped to 1,600,000. And to Alex's surprise, every time he refreshed the status page, sales were still going up very quickly. 1,610,000. 1,620,000. 1,630,000. Really, after this event, no matter how world governments try to hide Minecraft, it will be impossible, even more so with the golden apple. After knowing about it, probably all the world is telling their friends and asking them to come play. If they're lucky, they can win this apple and become millionaires. If they're not, at least they can have fun with their friends and family. Alex said to himself, very pleased with the idea he had for this event. He was already getting angry at Shield and the governments for enforcing a shadow ban on Minecraft, thus preventing the game from growing, but now that people are talking about Minecraft offline, the government will no longer be able to control it. Minecraft sales in this world will probably be even higher than in my old world, since here even adults and seniors will enjoy the game without thinking it's something childish. Alex said, satisfied as he watched the numbers go up. With that $32 million I can convert into 160,000 gaming points, which would be enough to make an advanced RPG, but considering Minecraft's rapid growth, I'd better dedicate myself to making this event more fun. Probably until the end of the event I already have 500,000 gaming points to play the next game. Alex made up his mind before buying something to eat and rest his mind a little. After resting, he intended to try harder to improve the event the next day. Around the world, something no one imagined happened. A computer game has conquered people of all ages and all social classes. Good evening, Fox News viewers. I believe that during the afternoon of this day, many viewers around the country must have encountered a very unusual situation. No. A man wearing a smart suit said on television at an American family's home. See love. I said it's true, it wasn't just my boss who gave me the day off, but this happened to several people. I didn't get fired, a man said, frustrated as he looked at his wife who was mad at him. He had come home earlier because his boss said he had to go home, buy Minecraft, and help defend Hypixel. Even the $20 expense to buy Minecraft the company would pay for the employees. According to the boss, this would be part of the work as a home office. The man was very happy to be given time off to play a computer game, even though he had never played a computer game before, but as his son always played it, he saw that it was something easy, much better than staying at work carrying boxes. But as soon as he got home, his wife started hitting him asking why he wasn't at work. Even if the man explained, his wife didn't believe that someone's boss would pay employees to go home and play computer games. Despite the woman complaining, the man ignored her and started playing the game. As he didn't understand the game very well, he was afraid his boss would find out that he didn't play and take a day's salary from him. Upon entering the game, the man was very scared, but after understanding how it worked, the man participated in the Hypixel War and felt as if he had participated in a great world war, while helping his countrymen to defend his country against the enemy. During the war the man felt his blood boil, but after the war ended and he disconnected from the game, the man saw his wife staring at him with a murderous expression. After 30 minutes of bickering, the two finally sat down on the couch to watch the news. For the happiness of the man, the presenter of the program has already started the program by talking about what happened today around the country and about the war he participated in. This afternoon, many companies closed early, while some even encouraged employees to go home and buy a game called Minecraft to participate in a war to defend the city from the players. The whole battle was full of emotions and twists, until the players discovered that the main battle was being fought in the skies of Hypixel. Two brothers were fighting over the city. One of the brothers, known as Notch, was helping the players and also being helped by them, while the other brother, Herobrine, was controlling the monsters and wanting to defeat the players. In the end, it was discovered that this battle was being fought mainly to get a golden apple, a fruit with miraculous powers that can cure any disease and bend a person's strength. And this fruit apparently can be brought to the real world. Many hospitals are now buying old laptops for patients who want to play games and have trying to get a chance to receive the golden apple have the opportunity to play, while friends and coworkers are forming groups around the world to organize and be able to affect the war in a positive way to get the apple. According to the game's official website, tomorrow at 10 a.m. Herobrine will attack again, so in case anyone wants to buy something tomorrow, I recommend leaving early or leaving to buy later, since the chance of the market you want to go to is close and it's too loud. Hearing this, the man's wife was shocked and looked at him, not knowing what to say. "See, I told you I wasn't lying," the man said as he scratched the injured arm his wife hit. As Minecraft sales skyrocketed and people around the world were going crazy over this new game, Alex, who was at home eating bacon and pepperoni noodles, was surprised to receive a notification. A few days ago, to understand how far Minecraft players were willing to go, Alex set out some secret achievements. Every time an achievement was completed for the first time, Alex received a notification with the person's name and information on how they completed the achievement. Even though Alex spent some gaming points to complete this, he felt it was important. After all, knowing your audience is the biggest foundation for a service provider. Among these achievements were kill 10,000 players in Hunger Games or place 100,000 blocks in survival mode, and hundreds of different achievements. Among these achievements, Alex has already managed to identify who were the players with the best building skills, best battle skills, players most dedicated to planting and harvesting food, even players who most enjoyed fishing. For fun, Alex had made a nearly impossible conquest. Destroy a bedrock. In Alex's previous world, it was common knowledge that bedrock was indestructible, even if the player turned on an autoclicker to attack alone and left with a netherite pickaxe hitting the bedrock for 1 year, the stone would never be broken. But in the Minecraft he created, Alex decided to make an Easter egg. If a player were to hit a bedrock for 6 hours with their hands, the bedrock would break. Of course, to make it even more difficult, unlike other blocks where when the player hits and the block changes appearance to a more destroyed one, bedrock would always keep the appearance for 6 hours, until after 6 hours and 1 second it would be broken. If it was a normal person, After hitting bedrock for 5 minutes and seeing that the stone's appearance hadn't changed, the person would just give up and think that this was impossible. But oddly enough, Alex received a notification on his computer that someone got the achievement Destroy a Bedrock. How is that possible? Alex was shocked as he looked at the game logs and saw that one player had actually been hitting a bedrock with his hands without any tools for 6 hours straight. And the most impressive thing is that this player only had 8 hours of gameplay in total. That is, this player only stayed in Minecraft for 2 hours and spent the other 75% of his total game time breaking a bedrock. Curious, Alex went to see this player's other achievements and he didn't even have a craft achievement or a crafting table. That is, this player spent 2 hours breaking things and another 6 hours breaking a bedrock. Who is the lunatic that would do something like that? Alex quickly turned this player's single-player game into a private server and joined. Of course, Alex entered invisible and didn't let any messages appear in chat notifying him that he'd joined the match. Looking at the game data, Alex quickly found this player's location and teleported to him. The player was on the lowest tier in the world, and from what Alex saw, the player came here just by breaking the block below him. But the most surprising thing about this is that the player didn't have a pickaxe, so he did it all with just the hand. Curious, Alex looked at the player and saw that he was throwing punches with both hands in both directions while yelling. Anger Hulk. Hulk was a long time breaking black stone and under the black stone was another black stone. The player with Steve's skin was screaming to himself while punching his hands in all directions. Initially Alex found this player's reaction funny, but upon hearing what this player was saying Alex stopped laughing and was shocked. Did that player just say Hulk? Alex thought, trying to understand. With a mental command, Alex tried to find out what this player looked like in real life, but he couldn't find any bodies. With another idea, Alex searched the records for a player named Bruce Banner. A total of 7 players with that name were found. After looking through the IP of these players, Alex saw that there was a player with that name who was playing from Brazil, and coincidentally or not, it was the same IP as that player who was yelling Hulk. He really is the Hulk. They were finally convinced of the truth and were shocked. With an amusing thought, Alex decided to change the Hulk's skin on his own. In a snap of his fingers, the Hulk who previously had Steve's standard appearance, changed into a muscular green-skinned man, shirtless and wearing purple shorts. Hulk was so angry that he didn't even notice his hands had changed color and kept breaking things. With an unusual idea, Alex decided to do something fun with Hulk. Using mental commands, Alex changed a parameter for the Hulk. According to how many blocks he breaks, his punches are as powerful as the game's tools. By breaking 1,000 blocks with his hand, he will be able to break blocks as if his hands were wooden tools. By breaking 10,000 blocks with his hand, he will be able to break blocks as if his hands were stone tools. By breaking 100,000 blocks with his hand, he will be able to break blocks as if his hands were iron tools. By breaking 1,000,000 blocks with his hand, he will be able to break blocks as if his hands were diamond tools. By breaking 10,000,000 blocks with his hand, he will be able to break blocks as if his hands were tools of netherite. As much as this would take millions of blocks to complete, it would probably make the game more fun for the Hulk, and as this would only work in single-player mode, it wouldn't affect other players, just practically serving as a mod for the Hulk. Maybe you can have fun in tomorrow's invasion, Alex said mentally as he looked at the Hulk breaking blocks while remembering the mutant zombie. The battle between the two would be fun to watch. The news about the golden apple made Minecraft have another sales boom. Now people weren't joining the game just for fun. There were millions of people joining the game with the aim of learning about the game as quickly as possible to be the most useful as possible in war. Alex was looking at the stats quite satisfied after waking up. Minecraft. 4 million games sold minus $80 million. Average time played, 6 hours. Peak concurrent players, 2,811,110. Total earned on sold servers, $320,143. Total earned in VIPs, $9,510. 275. Less than 24 hours after the event started, Minecraft went from a game with 200,000 players to a game with 4 million players. Alex knew that the amount of people who knew about Minecraft was much higher, mainly from the fact that he opened Twitch and saw that there were millions of viewers watching Minecraft, but after all, Minecraft was very mysterious. A game that used people's minds to control the characters was something that a large part of the population was still afraid of. It's not like everyone will see a news in one day and on the same day already buy the game to start playing, even more so after seeing government warnings about the danger of Minecraft. Instead of acting like lab rats for this game that came out so recently, people preferred to stop and wait to see what would actually happen. As tempting as the golden apple was, their lives even more tempting. Not to mention that Minecraft stated that strength and lucky potions will still be sold as prizes to the best players, so people still felt they had a chance to get valuable things in the future. Of course, Alex was already expecting this. In fact, Alex was more pessimistic than optimistic about it. In Alex's mind, Minecraft would need at least 4 to 5 days after the event to reach 10 million players, but after looking at the current data, Alex has already realized that probably even today Minecraft would reach 10 million players. Acting like Herobrine is very tiring. I think I can finish this attack today and start preparing the new game starting tomorrow. Alex said to himself as he ate an English breakfast before entering Minecraft. Inside Minecraft, players in Hypixel were already getting ready for Herobrine's next attack. Fortunately, the city of Hypixel was very big, to the point that even with almost 3 million people connected, the city was still quite spacious and no one was squeezed. Of course, to fit in the 3 million people had to spawn far away from each other, and if friends wanted to meet up, they would have to send each other's location through the friends list and use jump points to jump from one place to another faster. During the time between yesterday's attack and now, the player's command center has been greatly expanded. As much as players with Ender Dragon capes wanted to monopolize decision-making power, they knew it would be impossible to do so with an army of 3 million people. So several divisions were made. Some people were responsible for logistics, others were responsible for guiding novice players, others were responsible for the battle itself, others led reconnaissance to know where the monsters would spawn, others handled communication, among many other functions. Of course, there were many people who were dissatisfied with being just soldiers and wanted to be one of the commanders as well, to be more participatory and have a greater chance of receiving the golden apple, but that was impossible, since if that were the case the army would have more commanders than what soldiers. Because they couldn't command, thousands of people decided to ignore these players and create their own army, where they convinced soldiers from the main army to come out and join them, with many promises about a better chance of winning the golden apple. So the main army was separated into smaller armies. But even with these small armies emerging, the vast majority of novice players joined the main army, as it was the largest army and the one with the greatest chance of getting the golden apple, in addition to being the army with the most people to teach new players what to do. Alex had no intention of intervening in this. In the same way that he loved watching videos of players playing on anarchic servers like 2B2T in his previous life, Alex felt like he was seeing anarchy among these players. Alex even thought that if Herobrine accepted players for his faction, probably half of those players would follow Herobrine, turning this into a big faction versus faction battle. But for now that's not what Alex wanted to do with Minecraft. Alex wanted to make Minecraft more of a relaxing game than a game of wars and battles. To make players battle, Alex intended to introduce other games specializing in this. Alex's mind was full of role-playing game ideas that he could make to make this player's desire to war more and more frantic. Too bad he only had enough gaming points to make a single game. In the future I will have a lot of gaming points, so I can put my ideas into practice much faster. Alex thought as he flew invisible and watched these players. In the end, as Alex flew around invisible, he found something that shocked him. A group of 4 players was praying around a pentagram drawn on the ground with dropped items. Single quote question mark question mark question mark question mark question mark single quote. Alex was confused, but when he got close he almost died laughing. Mr. Herobrine, we are your most faithful believers, please give us a chance to demonstrate our loyalty, we are willing to give our lives to you. Mr. Herobrine, we are your most faithful believers, please give us a chance to demonstrate our loyalty, we are willing to give our lives to you. Mr. Herobrine. Mr. Herobrine. Seeing this, Alex flashed a playful smile and switched from Notch's account to Herobrine's account. Let's make this more fun. Alex thought. The 4 players were wearing skins with black clothes as if they were believers in some evil cult. The pentagram on the floor made with red items made everything even weirder, but Alex felt it would be fun to play with these people. Using the Herobrine character, Alex stood in the center of the pentagram making the items disappear. Seeing the pentagram disappear, players were frustrated. George, this won't work, we've been trying to get in touch with Herobrine for several hours and he's never responded. Items are missing 7 times already. One player said. Let's have faith, you know that if we follow Notch like the other players we'll never have a chance to receive a golden apple, the only chance will be following Herobrine. The player nicknamed Jungle George responded with a sigh. We only have enough items for 1 more pentagram, if that doesn't work I'm giving up. Another player said frustrated. Alex was invisible in the center of the place where the players made the pentagram as he watched their discussion. When the players started throwing the items on the ground to make another pentagram, they noticed that the items were being attracted to something in the center of the pentagram. Confused, these players started throwing other items, but only the red items were being absorbed. What's up? Did we bug the game? Suddenly, a pair of glowing eyes appeared floating between the 4 players. Upon seeing those glowing eyes without any bodies, these players' hearts began to tremble uncontrollably. They just wanted to pray to Herobrine as some means of being able to join the other faction, just like in other games they've played, but seeing those glowing eyes staring at them made these players regret it. Unlike other games where they saw everything happening through a screen, in this game they were seeing everything in person. When remembering the chaos and destruction that Herobrine caused yesterday during the battle, and remembering that they saw in the newspaper that Minecraft seemed to make players connect through the soul, something immediately popped into the minds of these players. He's going to take my soul. To make the situation worse for these players, a song came up in the background. Have you seen the Herobrine, roam the world with the default skin? This song sung by a female voice as if it was made in a church made these players desperate. Without a second thought, the 4 players used the mental command and logged out of Minecraft. Alex saw the 4 players disconnecting and had to resist the urge to disable the option to leave the game. But he knew that doing so could cause a lot of bad press for Minecraft and potentially lose a lot of players in the long run. Ha 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 ha. Seeing the 4 players disappearing from the game, Alex couldn't help himself and started laughing out loud. He did nothing but put his eyes to light and play the Herobrine theme song, but that was enough to terrify those players. Making a horror game would also be fun. Alex thought excitedly as he turned invisible and returned to the Hypixel sky. The final battle would take place today, and Alex could finally start developing another game. Minecraft was already growing very fast. He knew that just in time Minecraft would already become one of the biggest games in the world. The extra attention he was going to give Minecraft would now be unnecessary. Alex might just release some updates and some events in the future and the game would continue to grow exponentially. Players from various armies were gathered in Hypixel, the time for the final battle was approaching. Veteran players were excited, while rookie players were scared. It was normal for people in a modern society to have to fight a war on such a massive scale was unimaginable. Only people who went through the army could handle this more calmly for the first time. But even though several armies emerged, players with the Ender Dragon cape were still gathered in the main army. No one knew who would make the biggest contribution to the war, but everyone was being very helpful for it to be them. With each person dedicating 120% to get the golden apple, numerous useful ideas were adopted to increase the strength of the players. Monsters today would definitely be more powerful, especially those Ender Dragons that were flying above the city, would probably attack today too, so players have already developed techniques for every monster they've ever seen, including the mutant zombie and mutant creeper. In an isolated place, a player different from the others also appeared. This player was green-skinned and apparently of a very young mental age. The first thing this player did when he arrived at Hypixel was try to break city blocks, but unfortunately many blocks were indestructible, which started to make this player angry. But this player's anger at the blocks was quickly overshadowed when he saw other players. Unlike him who had the green skin, these players had skins that fluctuated between white, beige, brown, black, something that this green player had seen before, but suddenly, he saw a player with blue skin. Then a player with red skin also appeared, and soon the green player saw many people with different skins just like him, which left the green player confused. The green player naturally is Hulk, who was summoned from single-player mode by Alex to the Hypixel. Hulk initially thought that when other people saw them they would get angry or scared and try to kill him, as they always did when he took control of Bruce, but incredibly, people just looked at him and then ignored him, as if he were a normal person here. Suddenly Hulk heard something. "Hey Hulk, are you part of an army yet?" Hulk heard his name and was even more confused, looking at the man wearing a black cape in front of him. Hulk couldn't read, so he didn't understand that it was written P. Parker on top of the other player, and he didn't even know how the other player knew his name was Hulk too, but seeing that this person was talking to him in a normal way, Hulk tried to respond in a normal way too. Hulk doesn't know what an army is. He replied while scratching his head. P. Parker saw that the player with the nickname Hulk maybe has some mental illness and felt a responsibility to help him. So very patiently, P. Parker treated Hulk like a child and explained everything about Hypixel and what was going on, happening. This is a friendship that no one could ever have imagined would happen, but perhaps because of Peter's kind heart and Hulk's naivete, it could be a friendship that has quite an effect on the way the universe goes. Author note. Hey guys, 6 months without any updates, right? I finally understood what made it so hard for me to get back to writing this FIC. I was basically writing this without much planning, just following my heart, and that over time became difficult to follow. Many things I had to keep reviewing old chapters in search of lost information, many things I even forgot. In the last few months I've used it to calm down, do other things to distract myself, study, and little by little saving information from this FIC in a separate file. Now, with everything organized, I feel confident again to post again. Of course, I won't force myself to write if I don't feel so comfortable, so that maybe one day or another goes by without releasing chapters, but with the intention that I don't stop writing this FIC that made me meet such incredible readers as you guys. In fact, it is very gratifying to receive messages of affection from many people, concerned about me, offering help, even helping me to answer some people who were a bit impolite. I'll be releasing new chapters without talking about my Patreon for this novel for some chapters, so just enjoy the story. Thanks for your love, hugs from the author, NunuXD. The scale of the war was bigger than Alex imagined. In the first hours of the war, he only used regular monsters, as there were a lot of novice players. But as time went by, more and more monsters were appearing and the armor of these monsters was getting more and more powerful. Millions of players died to the monsters, as they had never participated in a battle like this, but as time went by, players got used to it and their ease of killing the monsters got better. Seeing that the players were already getting iron tools and armor, Alex decided to use the mutant mobs. Initially he only used skeletons and mutant zombies. Upon seeing the mutant zombie, a player with the green skin and the nick Hulk got very excited and went to try to fight that monster, but with a single punch he died. After a while that player came back again and managed to dodge the zombie's punch, but died again. So players began to observe the tenacity of this player Hulk against the mutant zombie. Some players even noticed the similarity between the Hulk skin and the mutant zombie's appearance. Alex, who was controlling everything, opened up to Twitch to see how the war audience was doing and was shocked. Ned the King 3,543,132 viewers. P. Parker 3,213,765 viewers. Crawler 2,965,521 viewers. Minecraft total 21,655,321 viewers. Seeing this, Alex was shocked. In the old days Minecraft didn't even have more than 500,000 viewers, but now during the war the total has risen to more than 21 million. And looking for Minecraft on Google, Alex even saw that there were several smaller television channels that were even broadcasting the war with live commentators. I have to show respect. Do you see that player next to Ned the King with the long blonde hair? That man with Nick from History is Power is the dean of the history course at Cambridge University, the #1 university in teaching history and philosophy of the world. The tactics that the dean is using to deal with the zombies are famous tactics that mankind has used in the thousands of battles we have had in the past. These young men next to the dean are all shocked by these tactics, but for students of history, this is something extremely common. Who knew that nowadays we could see a recreation of so many famous tactics from our history? This was a cultural television channel. Alex would never have imagined that Minecraft would be broadcast on that channel where the focus is to transmit culture and knowledge to the spectators. While Ned's livestream was focused on controlling the troops, Peter Parker's livestream was focused on the battle against the mutant zombie, or rather, focusing on the battle between Hulk and the mutant zombie. Viewers at first were mocking the player named Hulk, but as time went on they realized that Hulk was getting better and better in battle and becoming more and more proficient in dealing with zombie mutant. Gradually the spectators who had been mocking Hulk were now rooting for him to show others that he could handle the mutant zombie on his own. Even some players were watching the livestreams on small floating screens as they played, something Alex had recently added. Among those players was a player with Nick from Dr. Banner. This player initially wanted to fight on the front lines to see what it was like, but after seeing that he didn't have enough motor coordination to fight long enough without dying, Dr. Banner decided to work with the logistics for the war. His boss at factory in Brazil had given all the employees time off because of this war and the employees gladly accepted. Since Dr. Banner was in the logistics, he had more free time than the frontline players, so he could put some livestream on to watch while he played. Before he was watching Ned Theking's livestream, but after getting tired of the boring strategies, he went to watch P. Parker's livestream. But what shocked him was that on P. Parker's livestream there was a player desperately struggling. Viewers sent messages in the chat madly motivating that player, treating him like a real warrior. But Dr. Banner felt that player was very familiar. The green skin, no shirt, no armor, no weapons, just fighting with fists while screaming, was very familiar to Dr. Banner, but as the player was too far away from P. Parker, he couldn't read his name right. But seeing the messages in the chat, Dr. Banner froze. Hulk, you can do it. Hulk is representing me. I wish I could fight the Hulk. Lots of supportive comments were normal, but the name people were praising that made Dr. Banner go stunned. Hulk, the player's name is Hulk. Bruce yelled, not knowing what to say. In his mind a number of things went through at the same time, most notably the anger problem he had before playing Minecraft, which suddenly disappeared after he played the first time. Initially Bruce thought it was just a coincidence, but after a while he felt like the Hulk had disappeared. Now, seeing Hulk fighting a mutant zombie that looked like him, Bruce Banner felt like he finally got it all. So you mean Hulk has been playing Minecraft since that time? And people still like him? Bruce Banner was still shocked. In the real world everyone treated Hulk like a monster, very scared of him, but in Minecraft Hulk was being treated like a hero. With many doubts, Bruce Banner decided to try something. Opening the friends list, Bruce wrote a name in the search tab. Hulk. Soon 3 results appeared. Hulk 1st fan. I love Hulk. Bruce was shocked by the other 2 player nicknames, but he soon ignored the other 2 and sent a friend request to Hulk. If that person really was Hulk, Bruce felt he should have a conversation with that player in person. But soon a message emerged. Hulk rejected your friend request. Bruce. As the hours of battle passed, many players became tired and had to stop fighting, while players who had just logged in took their place. During the battle, the number of novice players playing started to grow even faster. Minecraft. 7,900,000 games sold minus $158 million. Alex knew that Minecraft at this point had already gotten out of control, even though the government of every country in the world said that players' minds would be controlled when they played Minecraft, still millions of people would buy the game. Not because people weren't afraid anymore, but because at that point people's friends were already playing Minecraft, and seeing their friend having fun in this innovative game while they were just watching was something that made people very frustrated. So to not just watch friends play, people started buying Minecraft to play too, so a snowball was emerging, to the point that even Alex, who had estimated Minecraft sales to be 10 million by the end of the war, was still a conservative estimate. During the battle, Notch and Herobrine appeared in the sky and fought several times. Because of the golden apple, Notch managed to recover, but Herobrine was even stronger than him, so in most battles Notch lost. With players surviving, Herobrine began using increasingly powerful monsters, to the point where even the Whiter boss was released. Players had never seen this three-headed skeleton before. They had already seen that the white skeleton in the Nether dropped its head, but they didn't know that you could make a monster like that with 3 heads. Many players even wanted to go back to single-player mode to test this out and see if they could create this monster too, but seeing that the battle was getting even more difficult now that this boss came along, players gave up on that idea and took bows to shoot this monster. The Whiter boss was throwing exploding heads at players, which initially killed a lot of people, but as time went on, players who were always very adaptable were able to deal with it and kill the Whiter boss. Unfortunately, when White died, Herobrine was furious and released the 2 ender dragons that were flying over the city. Seeing the 2 dragons descending from the high heavens to attack them, players became desperate, especially those players who have never fought the ender dragon. Seeing those dragons flying in the city and destroying all the blocks they passed, the players became more and more desperate. The players' command line started to get chaotic and everything was falling apart. Until players with the Ender Dragon cape who were once commanding the army joined the battle. Both Team 01, which is the X-Men team, Ned and Petter, as well as Shuri and the Melage ran towards the dragons and started attacking the monsters while leading the players to the front lines. On the other hand, 2 players were on the roof of a tall building in Hypixel. Natalia and Hawk, or better known as Natasha Romanoff and Clint Barton, 2 S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. On direct orders from Nick Fury, the 2 were ordered to get this golden apple at all costs, so despite working with the players, Clint and Natasha had prepared a plan to deal with the dragons. They knew they couldn't handle the weaker monsters with just the 2 of them, so they decided that they would try to take the last shot to kill the 2 dragons. While Natasha would protect Clint, he would be focused on shooting arrows at the dragons to get the kill. This was a strategy they saw on the internet. As this was their first time doing any mission related to games, the 2 decided to search the internet for strategies from other games and see which would be the most viable for them to use. On the internet it always said that the person who gave the last attack on the boss could receive much more reward than the other players. And since Herobrine was like a god in this world, Clint and Natasha disregarded him as a boss and focused their attention on the dragons that had been flying over Hypixel since yesterday. The life of the first dragon is dropping, Clint said as he pulled the arrow from his bow. Natasha, on the other hand, was battling the fireballs the ghasts were attacking them with a sword. As they were the players who were at the highest place in the Hypixel, the attention of the ghasts who were monsters that flew at high altitudes was completely focused on them. Natasha didn't answer Clint and continued attacking the fireballs with her sword, very focused. If she missed the timing of the fireball counterattack, it would explode and send the 2 of them flying downward. Even if they didn't die from the explosion, they would likely die from the fall damage since they didn't have a bucket of water to do MLG. But Clint didn't need an answer from Natasha, the 2 already knew each other so well that he knew her silence was confirmation of the trust she had in him. Since archery in Minecraft was even easier than in real life, Clint calculated the amount of arrows in the air and the damage those arrows would do to the Ender Dragon and finally fired. Swoosh. The Ender Dragon's health was dropping fast because of the amount of arrows from the players, but as a Herobrine monster, the Ender Dragon's health was several times higher than the life of an ordinary Ender Dragon. But still, because of the constant rain of arrows all the time, the monster finally died. Players were excited about this and focused their attack on the remaining dragon. Millions of players had already died to these dragons, but no one gave up, everyone wanted the golden apple. After a few minutes of attacking, the dragon's health was finally at a critical level. Clint once again shot an arrow after much calculation and watched as his arrow killed the second dragon. After killing the dragons, players with bows pointed their arrows at Herobrine and started shooting. Herobrine saw that his most powerful monsters had died and he screamed in anger. "Filthy bugs, don't think you've won this battle, because it's not over." Herobrine screamed before running away and disappearing in front of everyone. Players were shocked by this. "We won." They started to wonder. Until Notch flew downtown and screamed, "We won." For more thrilling fanfiction stories like this, check out my channel Fanfic Audiobook. Dive into epic adventures, mysterious realms, and legendary journeys brought to life through immersive storytelling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing audiobooks.